I'm so glad you brought that up. Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah. Show you right. Come on.
Shang-a-lang, shang, shang-a-lang, shong, shang-a-lang, shang, shang-a-lang, shong, shang-a-lang, shang, shang-a-lang, shong, twang, twang, they tang, tong. I'm from the south, I'm a southern girl, home of the burning church, don't know much about the world, home of the pocket stones, home of the booty songs, home of the finger wave that lasts all night long, home of the on and on, home of the dominoes, home of the two-piece and a pepper, home of the teeth that's gold, home of the never
What's up,
miss.
gang? Today is January 15th, the year of our Lord, 2021. And I'm not having fun. No. I hate to have everyone reset the counter back to 0 straight weeks of fun had. But realistically, how could I have fun when these jackbooted thugs are ruining Adam Silver's fine NBA? They're just taking control of it. It's like they don't care at all. I don't know if you've heard, but James Harden was recently traded. That's right. I'll give you a minute to collect yourself. I'll read the full details of the trade. It was a 4-teamer. Okay, so the Rockets end up with Victor Oladipo, Dante Exum, Rodion Kurix, 3 Brooklyn first-rounders, 2022, 24, and 26, 1 Milwaukee first-rounder, 2022, and 4 Brooklyn Nets first-round pick swaps, 21, 23, 25, 27, all unprotected. The Nets received James Harden. The Pacers received Karis LeVert and a second-rounder. And the Cavaliers received Jared Allen and Taurean Prince. So let's just take a look at this from each team's perspective. We'll start from the bottom up, not even just in terms of like winning or losing, just in terms of the way I wrote them down. You understand? Cavaliers, I thought the Cavaliers made out pretty well, right? Like they gave up the Milwaukee pick in there was from the Cavaliers, but it's 2022. Giannis is staying, so that pick's going to be trash. It'll be a late pick. And Jared Allen's good, like legitimately good. He's, I think, 22. He's getting better. He needs more minutes. And the Cavaliers have plenty of money to re-sign him and keep him. Now, currently, the Cavaliers have like 19 big men. Like they got Drummond, Jared Allen now, JaVale McGee, Larry Nance Jr., Kevin Love Senior. But I don't like none of those guys are really in their future plans, I don't think, except for Nance and now Jared Allen. They didn't really give up much for Andre Drummond. It was like some salary and a second-round pick. So I could see him getting flipped. I think I listened to Brian Windhorst today. Someone's talking about buying him out. I don't know about that. I feel like he's got too much value for that to just buy him out. But who knows? Maybe you can flip him to Boston. They got that trade exception and get a decent pick back. But like between Sexland, Isaac Okoro, Nance, and now Allen, like it's coming together. It's coming together for Cleveland. Like Taurean Prince hasn't been that good, but he's an innings eater. He'll throw 150 innings, as I think he's been referred to. The Pacers, at first I was a little hesitant on this. Like they basically flipped Oladipo for LeVert. And I was hesitant just because one-on-one, I think Oladipo's a better player. But again, there's always more that goes into it than that. Like LeVert is younger. I think he's like 2 years younger. He's cheaper. He is signed for this year and the following 2. Oladipo is a free agent after this year. Both of them have had their injury issues, so that's probably a wash. And the Pacers weren't keeping Oladipo long-term. So I do think turning him into like a solid starter who will be with you at least these next couple years, that's a good move. So the Pacers had a solid trade out of this. The Rockets, I still like them getting Oladipo. Again, I think he's a better player than LeVert. The Rockets clearly had their choice of LeVert or Oladipo, chose Oladipo. I think he fits better alongside John Wall. And also because he's a free agent at the end of the year, you have the rest of the year to see if you want to re-sign him. I think it'll be enough time if they want to flip him before the trade deadline. They could move him again to somebody who wants to pay him. Or they might be able to sign him, trade him, this summer, or this offseason, I should say. And maybe get another pick, trade exception, something like that. They got Dante Exum and Curix too. Sure. Yeah, okay. You know what I mean? But like they don't have their own pick this year. That's going to Oklahoma City in the Paul Westbrook trade. Neither one of those guys are still on the teams that traded for him. That's sick. So they've got to stay somewhat competitive. Like they'll get a pick, but I think they'll end up getting, like the Thunder have the right to swap picks with them or Miami and send the worst one to the Rockets. So the Rockets will probably end up with like a pick in the 20s. But it's a pick, and they're clearly rebuilding. They need all the picks they can get. So Rockets made out all right, I guess. Sure. The Nets, and let me say this. I just got done watching the Nets and the Knicks. This isn't really related to the trade. There's no reason for Kevin Durant's hair to look like this. Right? I'm not breaking any news here. But what kills me, he gets it cut and lined up. And he thinks his job is done. He just washes his hands of it. You know what I mean? It's nonsense. He's a grown man. Also, another unrelated thing. Tom Thibodeau just put 2 people to cover the inbounder. And Doris Burke and Mike Breen were like, I don't know why the fuck he did that. It didn't work. But the Nets in this trade, actually one more thing. Like at the end, they do like the post-game interview, and Durant was talking to Cassidy Hubbard, and he was giving like, the short one word, yes, I think we played well, like those answers like that. Sure, whatever. Like, is that better or worse than Kyrie just like not doing media availability? Like the stale answers, the Popovich answers. Like Popovich, it was so quirky. I don't know if Durant will be called quirky for it. Okay, now I'm ready to talk about the trade, I promise. So for the Nets, like for this year, for only this year, right? And I say this year because they're a contender. They have a chance to win the conference. They have a chance to make the finals, to win the finals this year. So for this year alone, they turned 3 guys that were coming off their bench in LeVert, Allen, and Taurean Prince into James Harden. That's a win. And I just saw that they're the first team in history, I believe I read it right, that have multiple guys with at least 3 scoring titles. And they're also the first team in history to have guys with at least 3 scoring titles and then also have Kyrie Irving. People don't know that. So there's a lot of history being made here. Now, the picks they got, like they're risky. The picks they gave up. The picks they gave up are risky, but it take money to make money. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody, and by everybody I mean their big 3, is signed for this year and next. So the 2021 and 22 picks, those will be low. They all have a player option for 2023, but I imagine like something will be figured out long term. Like if it's working, they'll probably all be re-signed. If it's not working, 1 or 2 might be re-signed, and 1, Kyrie, might be traded, right? So either way, I think I'd be very surprised to see like all 3 just walk away at the end and have all those picks be trash. But you never know. Even if you keep those guys, even if they're old, and they will be old, it's still probably a playoff team. Like you keep 2 out of the 3, and again trade 1, probably Kyrie. It's still a playoff team. So you're handing over picks in the 20s. You can live with that. And again, you're trying to have a title won by the time you start giving over those picks. And if you win 1 title, if they get 1 title, it's worth it. It is what it is. That's just the name of the game. So again, a huge risk going all in for this year. But I've still got questions about just like the makeup of their team. Like again, I do think the trade in itself was solid. If they say, take it or leave it, you either like give us the 4 pick swaps, or you don't get James Harden, I probably would have pulled the trigger. Right? I wouldn't let some like 2027 pick be the difference between me and trying to legit contend for a championship. I'm also just in general not a huge fan of like just getting a buttload of future picks. Like that 2027 pick, man. You think we're going to have a world in 2027? You think we're going to have an NBA, man? Are you kidding me? Them picks might as well be in 3027. You know what I mean? So, a couple questions. We'll try to weave these into what I wanted to talk about, because I did laugh loudly at the trade, just at it being done in general. Just that I feel like I heard and read and saw so many times. It's like, well, listen, Houston's got the leverage here. Houston's willing to get uncomfortable. Y'all remember that? I hope y'all do. I know I talked about it, I don't know, a couple shows back. It's like they're willing to get uncomfortable. And the Rockets said, okay, we had about enough discomfort. Like, that was a cool 6 weeks. Harden came out, did that post game, and got out of there. And the two teams he had listed all along were the Nets and Sixers. The others were added later. But the Nets were the first one. I think they were the first option. I said he was probably going to end up there. That's just how this works. Like, I don't really care where he ended up, but that's just generally how this works. When you're the best, you get to dictate what happens and where you go. And that's what happened here. Example number 4,576. But first question from AW says, post-Harden trade thoughts. Since the Lakers are still beating whoever in 5, correct, is the Cavs getting Allen for a second-round pick best part of this trade? If not, what's the best non-Harden part? It was pretty good, man. Like, again, it was a first and a second, but the first was Milwaukee's not there. So, yeah, it really was just a second of their own capital. That's a slam dunk. But for the second best part, I got to say LeVert to Indianapolis. I really did come around on that. Because, again, he still got some room to grow there. Like, he was playing like an all-star. I guess it was 2 years ago now, before he got hurt. And then they brought in Durant, Kyrie, kind of flipped the team. Like, he's signed. He's cheap, relatively cheap, like making less than $20 million a year for like a solid wing player. That's a good deal. Steven Adams makes $20 million a year. People don't know that. But the Pacers have done well developing guys. So I think the risk, of his injury history keeping up, or, if you think his ceiling's already been hit, this is as good as he gets. I feel like that still outweighs keeping Oladipo, who they just weren't going to pay. So I would say LeVert to Indy is the best non-Harden part of that. The question that I had for the Nets, it's one I had before this trade. So, it's just who's defending and rebounding for the Nets, right? Like, rebounding, I feel like it's overlooked. It's a thing you could be like, well, everybody can grab 6-7 rebounds, a gang rebound and stuff like that, until James Harden's going 3 for 22 and y'all can't get a single rebound because Kevin Durant is the leading rebounder at like 7 a game. And Joel Embiid or Bam Adebayo's got 19 rebounds. So I do wonder about that. I wonder who's defending for them, right? Like, we've seen, like, KD, Kyrie, Harden, when they're motivated and focused, we've seen them all be, like, solid defenders. So I'm not too worried about that. I do think they'll be motivated. Joe Harris and Bruce Brown, solid defenders. Landry Shamet, DeAndre Jordan, they're defenders. I don't think there's any doubt about that they are certainly defenders. But you're asking for a whole lot from Jeff Green, man. Like, as of right now, I think he's their backup center. Like, that's just, you're asking for a lot. It just doesn't seem to bode well when people need a lot from Jeff Green. And by a lot, I mean anything more than like 7 minutes a game, every other game or so. But I do think they can fill out those parts. Like, and just thinking about, like, free agents, we're talking about it in the Twitch today. Like, Dwayne Dedman and Andre Roberson are both free agents. Like, is either one of those guys, like, great shakes, are going to play 35 minutes a game for you in the playoffs? No, but they're free. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to give up any future draft capital. You can just sign them. They'll probably get a buyout guy or two once we get closer to that. And then your rotation comes together. Like, playoffs, you really only need, 8 or 9? And they've got a couple of those set. So, like, you can keep 2 or 3 of their big 3 on the court at all times, especially in playoff time. But boy, oh boy, Steve Nash got his hands full, don't he? Like, he had his hands full yesterday, and they didn't have James Harden yet. Now, I do think Harden will be in shape, and motivated and all that, but he's got to keep all 3 of them involved. He got to create a passable defense. He got to keep guys 4 through 12 involved. He got his work cut out for him. we'll see. And it's still relatively early. They're doing fine so far. Haven't had Kyrie, so I'm interested to see. But right now they're 4th in offense, 12th in defense, which I feel like the 4 probably goes up now. The 12 probably goes down. Maybe that's a even trade. But boy, if DeAndre Jordan gets in like any kind of foul trouble or suspension, has to miss a game, injury, anything like that, he turns an ankle, it gets ugly quick when Jeff Green's your backup center. But to be fair, DeAndre, I feel like he doesn't really jump that much or that high anymore, so it feels pretty unlikely, knock on wood. So you're looking at like their top 8 or 9 right now is Jordan, DeAndre Jordan, Durant, Joe Harris, James Harden, Kyrie Irving. You got Shamet, Bruce Brown, and TLC off the bench. Nick Claxton is a big man. He's hurt right now. I think he's still hurt. So it might open up some minutes for him when he's healthy, which I wouldn't hate. I think he could bring like some energy at the big man spot, which they need. But I asked it today, and I'll ask you to consider it, listener. Does that team I just listed, do those top 8 or 9 guys, does that scare the Boston Celtics? Does that scare Philadelphia? Does it scare Milwaukee, Miami? Who's the favorite in the East now? And again, in the Twitch, I was asking so many polls. Y'all would have been so proud of me. I was asking so many polls. But I asked, like, each one, I was like, okay, is Philly scared of Brooklyn now? Is Boston scared of Brooklyn now? Is Milwaukee scared of Brooklyn now? And for each of those 3 teams, it was about 70 to 30 yes to no. It was about 70% people said yes, those 3 teams are scared of Brooklyn now. And again, the defense, rebounding concerns, those will be there. But when you think about like the spacing those guys will have, good Lord. Like if they're going to put Kyrie, Harden, Joe Harris, and KD on the court to either start, close games, whatever, that's tremendous. It really don't matter who the 5th person is almost. Like if it is DeAndre or any big, they'll be fine because that's just tremendous spacing. And I guess their bet is there just won't be much to rebound because there won't be many misses with those 4 guys on the court. And you really only need enough defense to, they're going to score 135, so they just got to hold you to 134. They might be able to do it. Nash and D'Antoni, they got some experience with, offensive teams that can't defend worth a damn. So maybe they learn from their mistakes. I don't know. We'll see. But Boston, I think, is an interesting matchup for them because they don't really have like a big man. Like their biggest big man is like 6'5" and weighs 240 pounds. Like all their big man, like Grant Williams, Tice, Tristan Thompson, all those guys are like the same size, it feels like. But in theory, they've got Jaylen Brown to guard Kevin Durant. Guard in quotes because Durant does what he wants. But they've got Marcus Smart for James Harden. He's historically played him really well. And they've got Tatum for Kyrie. And I think you can put Kemba on DeAndre Jordan, let those 2 Titans go at it. But those aren't terrible matchups for a healthy Boston team. So that's why I was like 70% think Boston should be scared. Not to say I wouldn't pick Brooklyn in a series right now, but I don't know. I feel like it's a solid matchup for Boston. I'd like to see 7 games of that. Milwaukee is intriguing in theory, right? Like you figure, let's say you put Drew on Kyrie. Giannis, if Giannis can get the permission slip from Bud to not guard like the worst player on the other team when the money's on the line, you put Giannis on Durant, and I think you just tell Chris Middleton just wait for James Harden to go 3 for 17 when the games count, right? Like I feel like they match up reasonably well. Philly is interesting though. Philly's the one that it's like, because it sounds like Ben Simmons was available, but they wanted like the extra picks. Matisse Thybulle and Tyrese Maxey appeared to be the hang-up. And so the thing I think about that is like of those 4 pick swaps, of those 8 picks you got, if I had 8 picks right now and I'm Houston, how many would you give up right now for Ben Simmons? Like if you're Houston, you just cut the middleman out. Like we ain't trade Harden for him, but we traded the picks and then traded the picks for Simmons. How many of those 8 picks would you give up for Ben Simmons? Like 4? 6? Like all of them? Like, I don't know. I also asked, will Philly regret not doing this trade? And that was, again, majority said yes. I think that was 65-30. Like, it was pretty big size of the majority agreed they would regret it. And I love Tyrese Maxey. Long have. You all know this. He's going to be a star regardless. And I'll be rooting for him regardless. And I don't know how true this is. I saw this reported a couple places. But the trade I saw was centered around James Harden, PJ Tucker, and Eric Gordon for Simmons, Maxey, Tybal, and maybe a couple picks. Like, if you do that trade, I think that makes everybody in the East afraid of Philly. You'd be looking at the starting lineup of Embiid, Tobias Harris, Danny Green, Seth Curry, and James Harden. And your bench is PJ Tucker, Shake Milton, Eric Gordon, Dwight Howard. Like, that's enough ball handling. You got some off the dribble punch. You got backup big. You got defense. Like, that's a contender right now, right this second. But they're betting on that they're already a contender right now. And also, which I think is a decent bet, I think they're fake betting on that they can get Bradley Beal down the line. Right? Like, he's not as good as Harden, but he's younger, he's cheaper, and thus he won't cost as much, right? So if you're betting, okay, we can keep that and then give up 60% of that, 70% of that to get Bradley Beal, maybe in a couple months, then I don't hate it. I don't hate Philly, just holding steady. Like Miami's another one. Like, they got Bam and Harrow to take out Katie and Kyrie. That's light work. Butler for Harden. We'll see how that works. I will say I need a Milwaukee-Brooklyn series at some point. We deserve Giannis and Harden versus each other. Don't care what round it's in. We just need it at some point. Like, the second round of the playoffs should be pretty damn good, guys. Like, if we get these 4 teams, like, Pacers have been good, but no thanks. Raptors have not been good. The Hawks are, oh boy, I don't want to talk about it. But of these 4 teams, if we get those in any order, I don't care what the order is, Boston, Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Philly in the second round, then 2 of those for the conference finals, yes, please. Like, and all this trade brouhaha, we didn't even really get to Kyrie Irving just taking mad PTO. My boy Kyrie out on FMLA. Listen, I've been there. I get it. But I'll say this. I said it for Harden, too. You got to find some better friends, man. Like, this video came out of Kyrie at a club, some sort of venue, celebrating, his pop's birthday and his sister's birthday. And I do know, like, he's very close to his family. I know his mother passed when he was really young, and he's, like, big on family. I mean, he might be big on Family Guy. I don't know. I need him to be bigger on friends. Like, I need him to have better friends. Like, you're not going to stop people from going out, which is abundantly clear. But how is this footage getting out? It's got to be known, like, hey, I'm guessing they, like, rented out the building. It was only, like, their party in there. It's got to be known. Hey, if you're here, no cell phone, right? You want to record it, take your pictures. It cannot end up on social media. It cannot, like, under any circumstances. Like, you're not paying for nothing while you're there. We're all going to have a good time. We're going to ignore COVID protocol. It's all very funny. But I don't see how this footage keep getting out. I just don't get it, man. And it turns into a thing. This is what I really hate. It turns into, like, people are ready to call Kyrie a dickhead, right, for him being out and about, not having on a mask and all this. And then somebody, it only take one person, I'm not saying any names, but one person this week ended up comparing him to Adolf Hitler. And it turns into hold on a minute there, player. Like, I was ready to call him a dickhead until you called him Hitler. And now, now people, I won't say you got to defend Kyrie Irving, but it's like, listen, can it be something? Can it be something in between dickhead and Hitler? Do we have to go right to Dolph? Right to Hitler himself? So I don't know. They had a game. Kyrie's on Zoom meetings, which I don't like. It was it was pointed out. It was like they had a game at 7:30. The meeting was at 7. It's like he wasn't playing regardless, right? Like whatever. He was in his home. Now, if he was out at the club, if that's when that footage dropped, yeah, that's a bad look, dickhead. But once he home, man. It could have been any K. Irving. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he got a doppelganger. I don't know why he cut his camera on, but again, why not? Again, as abundantly clear, when you are the superstar talent, you get to make the rules. That just is what it is. Question that I got asked, we'll work it in here since we're on Kyrie. Question is, what are the odds Kyrie might pull a Maya Moore? He missed the game to support a politician and clearly is very vocal about current politics. It would be almost unprecedented for a male athlete to do something like that. I can't say it would completely surprise me. Right? Like, I don't know if it would be, if he'd be like, I'm retiring to focus on social justice. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I also don't know if Kyrie's a lifer. You know, I don't know if he's going to be playing 15, 18. Like, look at Kyrie Irving coming up on year 20. I don't know if he's that kind of lifer. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. Like, he's clearly got other interests. He's made enough money, like on court, off court, to support himself, his family, and those interests. But I do think I could see him using, you know, some of that pull with either the Nets or the NBA or Nike, like challenging them to see if he can like double his giving or his impact or whatever. But I wouldn't be like, oh my God, Kyrie Irving retired at 28 or whatever he is. Oh my, color me surprised. For now, like, I think he's fine in Brooklyn. He wanted to be there. He wanted to be with KD. I don't know if he wanted Nash, but I don't think Nash would have been there if he wasn't at least okay with it. You know what I'm saying? Same for Harden. Not saying they ran this stuff past him, but this talk was going on long before this. They knew Kyrie Irving's stance on this before this. So I think he'll be fine there. And like, we're really talking about all this because they all just haven't hit the court yet. KD and Kyrie have barely hit the court. So once they're all on the court and playing, and I think they will all get on the court and start playing, I think most of this stuff goes away. However, if they start losing or not playing well, and he ends up like the odd man out, traded to spare parts, so they just ship him off to, you know what I'm saying, Sacramento to get some pieces that fit Harden and KD. Yeah, he might just Andrew Bynum this shit, man. You know, Jersey niggas are different. Don't tell them I said it, but they know they different. I got a couple Jersey nigga friends, but they are different. I don't think there's any debating that. So, yeah, I wouldn't be so totally surprised to see him walk away. I do think he stays as long as he's in Brooklyn. I do think he's not going to let the situation be controlled. We saw that from Cleveland to Boston. He gave them some teams. He told the Cavs if they didn't trade him, he was going to get like knee surgery. Went from Boston and then just signed with Brooklyn. So when he's controlling the situation, I think he'll be fine. If they traded him, like, and he didn't know it or approve of it, that's when it's like, yeah, Kyrie Irving refuses to report to the Utah Jazz. And really, who could blame him? You know what I mean? Next thing I want to talk about, still basketball related. George Hill. George Hill's fed up with the new COVID protocols. I'll read here from an article I found on the internet. Quote, I'm a grown man, so I'm going to do what I want to do, Hill said, per the Oklahoman. If I want to go see my family, I'm going to go see my family. They can't tell me I have to stay in the room 24/7. If it's that serious, then maybe we shouldn't be playing. It's life. No one's going to be able to just cancel their whole life for this game. One of the many changes, that was the end of George Hill's quote, start of the quote from this article. One of the many changes includes a mandate where players and staff have to quarantine at home or in their hotel rooms when not at practice or the game itself until further notice. On the road, players can't leave the team hotel, nor can guests come over. The league has asked players to stop the post-game extended handshakes, hugs, and conversations, end quote. George Hill's not wrong. You know what I mean? He's not wrong. This is just probably another case of maybe you don't say that out loud and you probably just keep doing it anyway, right? Like James Harden wasn't like, I'm going to the club. He just went to the club. You can't keep me in the house. I am going to the club. He just went to the club. You know what I mean? But it is really wild. Like, I see what he's saying. You can guard a nigga for 48 minutes and triple overtime, but you can't dap him up afterwards and tell him good game. You can't have a glass of wine with him after the game. Like, they staying in these cities. You play, you know what I'm saying, New York, Miami. You go there and you stay like 3 days because y'all playing again 2 times in 3 days. So you staying in the city a couple nights, and like Joel Embiid done posted you up for 45 minutes. And you got to just go back to your room. Y'all can't go get a nice beer to keep the wheel moving. Philly was about to pull some of the cardboard cutouts in the stands, like to put them on the court because they ain't have enough bodies. So, I don't know. But another question is about George Hill, so I'll work it in here. It says, in light of George Hill's comments on how he's not going to change his family life if the COVID protocols require it, should the NBA offer a similar program to what the NFL did and allow players to take a guaranteed portion of salary if they wish to opt out? It wouldn't convince guys like James Harden, but it could be an effective strategy. I can't see it. I just can't see it, man. Like, the NFL money's not guaranteed, you know, so I feel like that saves them even more money by being willing to pay less. Like, the NFL had a thing, I think it was if you opted out, you could have got, like, I think $150,000, $250,000, something like that, a portion of your contract and some of the roster bonuses, but you wouldn't get the full salary for the year. And also, football too dangerous to go out there and, like, half-ass it. Like, you might lose your life and your limbs playing normal football. Now you got to risk your lungs, too, because of COVID. You know what I'm saying? Like, the NBA money is guaranteed. Like, we saw from the bubble, you can show up. You can show up and half-ass a basketball game. Hell, I've done it many times. Like, going last year to the bubble restart, Oladipo wasn't going to play because he was still rehabbing. And the NBA said, okay, like, you can not play, but you're not going to get $3 million, like the rest of your salary for the year. So he played. He played poorly, but he played. And ended up being 10 games, 6 regular season games, 4 playoff games. He looked terrible, but he got his $3 million for 10 games. Not bad. And like you see, now he back to 20 a game. I saw he hit like 5 threes of the night, had 6 steals. So the Rockets should enjoy this type of production. And like, you can play yourself into like in or out of shape during basketball, right? We see it like Shaq, Doncic, Jokic, maybe Harden. Or you just half-ass it, man. Like, that just feels like the move. Honestly, if y'all gonna make me play, okay. Like, the consequences of what? Getting fined a couple game checks? Because if he did, like, if you find George Hill, he can be like, y'all ain't fine Harden or Kyrie or whoever else out in the club. And also, like, if you're George Hill, if you just stay around long enough, you'll probably encounter some kind of contact tracing. You get a couple days off, maybe a couple weeks, and you still get paid. That's easy money. So, right or wrong, that's really the reason I can't see George Hill or anybody in it so far opting out unless they've got, you know what I'm saying, like serious health issues of their own or somebody at home. But I can't see it. Something that I wonder, like the vaccines coming out, the NBA said they won't skip the line for the vaccines, which sure, right? Like, all right, okay. Now it's about morality now. Like, they're getting 2-3 tests a day for guys and this frontline workers that hadn't had this kind of testing. Like, they're fine using their money and power and privilege, all that, to keep the wheel moving. And again, I get it. It's fine. But now, like, games shutting down, people playing games with 7 people rosters, and now they won't skip the line. It just feels like I won't say easily fixable problem, but if I'm the Atlanta Hawks and I say, okay, like, we're purchasing X number of vaccines, but it's not just for the players, right? It's for the staff and the trainers and the coaches and everybody working in the building. If we're having fans, like, hopefully we can say, you know, 1, this vaccine is safe. People should take it. 2, we're protecting the people, like, in our organization, in our community. But they won't skip the line. Won't skip the line. You couldn't do that morals-wise, I guess. But if Daryl Morey tweets about, you know, some morally reprehensible shit overseas, hey, they put the ixnay on that. But, and it's not apples to apples comparison, of course, but it just feels like there's got to be an easier way to do this. and also their vaccines expiring by the hundreds. So, I mean, I'd rather see NBA players and staff workers get it than to watch them literally expired and be unusable. But what can you do? Moving on. Let's talk a little NFL, shall we? Had enough of that round ball crap. Let's talk some NFL playoffs. Last week I was 3-3. Lost on the Steelers, Titans, Seahawks, but I would take 3-3. And as a little bit of a treat, Trilly Propbets is back. Maybe I've got a couple prop bets this weekend. Maybe I don't. I do. Rams Packers, the first game. The line I saw was Packers by 7.5. The prop bet I have, been a while. I'm seeing Packers by 7.5 and the total under for the game at 45.5 points. Now that's plus 320, mush. No, but Packers 7.5. I think they win relatively comfortably. I don't think it'll be very close. And like it's gonna be cold weather. I think that'll affect field goals and stuff. And I don't think the Rams like contribute much on offense here, right? Like if the Packers win 40-3, that's still them hitting the points and the under. And then again, plus 320. I think is a good bet. Like we getting the MVP versus the defensive or probable defensive player of the year, the number 1 ranked defense. I'm looking forward to Jalen Ramsey versus Devontae Adams. That should be good. That should be really good. So, I don't know. Like, Goff already can't feel a thumb on his throwing hand. And now it's going to be like 1 degree outside. Like a single degree. I won't say it's a blowout, but it's smelling like a blowout. Speaking of blowing out, I've been blowing out that Pete Carroll pack. People have been putting up the Russ pack. I mean, I'm fine with that too, but I feel like you got to put the Pete Carroll pack up there with it. But yeah, I don't think the Rams are going to get handed points by Aaron Rodgers the way Russell Wilson handed them points. So, got Packers there. Next game is Ravens-Bills. Line I saw there is Bills by 2.5. So, the prop bet is this. Give me the Ravens plus 2.5 and the over, the total over both teams, 50.5 points. Now, that's plus 250. Okay, like for the regular season, these two teams, they average 60 a game between them. I think the Bills are 31, Ravens are 29. I might have that backwards. So what I need here is the Bills to win on like a last second field goal, like 30-29. That hits the Ravens in the 2.5 points and the over 50.5 points plus 250. I think it's easy money. I think we're going to get another good game here. Like, I think the Bills' defensive line and linebackers are, like, we'll see. I think they're quick, disciplined enough to, like, stay in their lanes, make Lamar throw it, keep them from, running 40, 50 yards like he did against the Titans. Josh Allen, he's playing really well, man. Like, he cut back on doing, like, the one crazy thing a game. If he keeps just doing that, I think they'll be fine. We've got another good corner wide receiver matchup. Like, we should get some Marlon Humphrey and Stephon Diggs. Like, Marlon Humphrey versus A.J. Brown was good last week. And A.J. Brown, I feel like, was getting the best of him. Like, just out muscling him repeatedly. And Diggs is a different matchup. But, like, for better and worse, man, Diggs is a different animal. So, looking forward to that, too. For the game, outright, I'll go Bills, but I do like that prop of Ravens plus 2.5 and the over 50.5. Next game, I think these are the Sunday games. Browns at the Chiefs. Line us off at that. Chiefs 10.5. I'm taking the Chiefs to win there, but the prop is Chiefs 10.5 points and the over 56.5 points. I feel like the Chiefs haven't been like as scary as they've been like the last 2 years. They kind of just been waiting for the playoffs. And now they are either like they're a Baker Mayfield or a Josh Allen / Lamar Jackson from where they want to be. So I think they start to turn it on. I don't know who's in or out this week for the Browns. I think I saw Denzel Ward supposed to be back. I don't know if some of the linemen will be back. I think Stefanski, the coach, will be coaching there. So, I mean, even if they're back, I imagine some of them will be dealing with the effects of coming back, either injury or COVID related. But now I wonder, like, should special teams, like, coordinator, should they just be like the de facto new coach? Like, for the most part, you know, we want a defensive genius, you get the defensive coordinator. We want an offensive genius, you get the offensive coordinator. But special teams, it's a thing I believe Amani Jones has said, it's like they have to deal with guys that don't want to be there. Nobody on that team wants to be playing special team, like kicker and punter aside. And you still got to make it work. You also have to talk to pretty much everybody on the team. So, like, get you a good offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and just stay out of the way, like Jim Harbaugh does. That's what I do. That's what I would do. So, I think this would be a solid game. I think the Browns walk away encouraged, kind of no matter what happens, because they eliminated the Steelers. And the Chiefs walk away with a big win, like big. I got them covering the points. And they're still hungry because they know they're close, very close again. And the last game we've got Bucs Saints. We got the old fuck bowl. The line I'm seeing is Saints by 3. And the prop bet is Saints 3.5 and the over of 51.5 points. It's plus 270. I think it's a good bet. They say it's hard to beat a team 3 times. I feel like in general, probably so. Maybe not so much here. Like week 1, they played. New Orleans won 34-23 at New Orleans, but it was so long ago. Week 9, less long ago, they beat them 38-3 in Tampa. But again, that was November 8th. Like, y'all remember November 8th? Because I don't. I'm genuinely asking if y'all do, because I do not. And since then, Tampa Bay didn't beat a single team that finished over 500. Did you know that? Because I didn't know that. They beat Carolina, Minnesota, Detroit, Atlanta twice, and Washington last week. So then I looked before. I was like, how many winning teams did they beat all year? 1. They beat Green Bay in the middle of October. And if they played right now, which I really want, we'll get to that. But again, we get Lattimore and Mike Evans. Like, Lattimore just plays him extremely well. I think they'll be able to get into the backfield against Brady, get pressure, stop the running game without really blitzing. So, going Saints there. Leads to a question from Jen. Jen says, what Super Bowl matchup do you want to see this year? And what would the worst case scenario be? I want to see Brady versus Rodgers. Brady versus Rodgers in the NFC Conference Championship. Mahomes and Lamar in the AFC Championship. And then we get a Rodgers-Mahomes Super Bowl. Chiefs-Packers. That's what I want to see. I think that'd be the best game and the most entertaining. Worst case scenario, to me, would be Buccaneers-Browns. Right? Because, like, if Brady win, you got to watch him go out there and shout out Trump. You got to watch AB probably win, like, Super Bowl MVP and then do something incredibly illegal after the fact. If the Browns lose, that's another chip on Baker Mayfield's shoulder. Oh, God. Boy, need Tommy John with all the fucking chips on his shoulder. And if the Browns win that, we're going to see a whole lot more of the, hey, is Odell Beckham actually bad? Let me tell you why he's actually bad. And even if they win, that's still another chip on Baker's shoulder, man. That's even more commercials. So, no thank you. No, please. No thank you, please. El Braz asks, who is your pick to be the Super Bowl representative for the NFC, and how much would they lose to the Chiefs by? Again, beginning of the year, I had the Seahawks, but that didn't work out. So, I think we get Packers-Chiefs. That's what I want. And, I mean, I think the Chiefs will win. Chiefs 58, Packers 44. It's a splendiferous occasion. There are points flying every which kind of way. Keeping with the pigskin talk, got a question from Abuj. Abuj says 5 or 6 quarterbacks are going to go in the first round of the draft this year. Have there ever been a draft where this many quarterbacks went early and they were all even average quarterbacks. 5 or 6, I've seen like 4. I mean, 5 or 6 wouldn't surprise me, but I've seen like Lawrence, Fields, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance. Those guys are going first round. I don't know yet about Mac Jones, Kyle Trask, but again, it wouldn't surprise me. And I don't think it'll ever be a case where all of them are average. And really, that might be like worst case scenario. If they're all average, it just dilutes the quarterback feel. Like if you got a bad quarterback, you at least know you got to replace him. Average, you're going to keep talking yourself into. I've seen it. So I think what's most likely is you'll have a couple, studs. Like say Lawrence and Fields are the studs. Some of them probably be mid, probably Lance and Wilson. And we'll get a stinker or two. Maybe Trask, maybe Jones, maybe both. Like for a while, it was just Trevor and Justin Fields, I feel like. And now it's 4 more. Like last year was tanking for Tua. And of the first round quarterbacks, he was the worst of the 3. Like Josh Allen literally came out of nowhere. He was the previous draft. But like it was just like, hey, here's this guy from Wyoming. And now he's all pro. He can't throw accurately at all coming into the draft. And now he's all pro. All right. So the 1983 draft, of course, they had 6 quarterbacks. It was John Elway, Todd Blackledge, Jim Kelly, Tony Eason, Ken O'Brien, Dan Marino. And like 3 of those guys made the Hall of Fame. 4 of them played in the Super Bowl, like started for a team in the Super Bowl. That ain't bad. That feel almost best case scenario. You're just going to get a couple stinkers. Nobody's good at evaluating players, nonetheless quarterbacks. So you're going to get some stinkers. The 2018 draft, which a good bit of it is playing this weekend in the playoffs. Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, Lamar Jackson. And again, 3 of those guys won playoff games last week. 2 of those guys made all pro teams already. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Like, I think I would say the jury's still out for Sam Darnold, but no dice on Rosen. Like again, somebody got to stink. That's just the numbers. I do think it's wild. Kind of wild that like Mac Jones and before him Jalen Hurts were like not considered prospects from anything I'd seen until like 1 year in an offense that suited them. And now Mac Jones might go first round. Jalen Hurts might be the Eagles quarterback of the future. It's just weird what happens when you get into like a system that suits you and helps you learn and play up to your strengths. Wild. But it's a thing I've been wondering for a while. I feel like it's just easier to like perform at a base level of quarterback now. Like especially early on. Like you look this year, like Burrow, before he got hurt, Burrow was great. Justin Herbert, after he got in, he was great. Tua, again, was the worst of the 3. And he started 9 games. He went 6-3, and he wasn't god-awful, right? Like, he just wasn't what they're looking for right now if they have title hopes, which they think they do. You look in the past, like, it was like the Blaine Gabberts, the Christian Ponders. These guys was, like, bad from the rip. You look at Christian Ponder's second year, they won, I think, 10 or 11 games, made the playoffs. And just across the board, he was worse at about everything than Tua was this past year. And they were ready to give up on Tua. And Christian Ponder that was the year Adrian Peterson ran for 2,000 yards. Tua didn't have that. Like, I feel like we just see guys come in and perform at or around, like, pretty solid play immediately. Like, just looking back, like RG3. Like Bortles had a good year within the first couple of years. Like Teddy Bridgewater kind of came in. And he's pretty much been about the same guy, but he came in confident. He's still confident. Mariota and Jameis both look competent at first. Goff, Wentz, Mr. Trubisky made the Pro Bowl. People don't like to talk about that. Daniel Jones had a solid rookie year, and I don't think he's good at all. So we'll see on Jones. We'll see on Herbert, because Herbert had a good year for sure. But another thing I found interesting, just looking back at quarterbacks, Jameis threw 30 interceptions. The next season, he was on a different team and on the bench. Vinny Testaverde threw 35 interceptions 1 year. And the next year, he started and threw 22. He threw 57 picks. 57 picks in, I think, 29 games. Like, the boy was tossing them left and right. Brett Favre threw 29 picks. He started 5 more years after that for like 3 different teams. Eli threw 25 picks. He won a Super Bowl the next year. And then he threw 27 picks, man. That's just wild. Like, that's why I say, like, quarterback feels relatively easy. That's why Jameis got killed. You throw 30 picks now, you're done. You're not starting no more. You threw 35 back in the day. Well, he was just letting it fly. You know what I mean? Like, I look at quarterbacks like Derek Carr, like Kirk Cousins. Like, they do solid numbers as starters, but would anybody say that those are good quarterbacks? I say they're fine, but I couldn't argue in good faith that they were good quarterbacks. And like Derek Carr is what scared me about Wentz. Like it happened with Andy Dalton too. Like a guy come play a really good 12, 13 games. Their team is in like 1 or 2 seed and they get hurt. Again, it happened to Dalton, happened to Carr, happened to Wentz. And I don't know how far those team, like your team goes if you have any of those guys starting now. Like, was that 12 games of magic? Was that a fluke? Was that your best? Was that your worst? But you're getting paid off of it like it's your best. And those guys haven't come close to really approaching those heights again. That's why I just need to see more from Herbert. Like, just do it like for more than, I don't know, 11, 12 games, however much he started. Like, do it again. I've been hurt too many times. It's not you, it's me. And I feel like spread offense, goes down to the college level, to the high school level. They have more like 7-on-7 camps, like more summer camps, all that, and they weed out the Nathan Petermans. For the most part, they still get through. And when they get through, boy, do they stink. But you come in competent, but to me, it feels like it's harder to get to like that next level, like good or even great. And that's why Brady knows Brady 44 knows he can play till he's 50. Drew Brees still chugging along. Aaron Rodgers like 37, just had his best year. And he probably got, 5 more good years left, minimum? 6, 7? Like Phillip Rivers, 39. Just took a team to the playoffs. If he want to come back next year, he'll have a team ready to pay him. It might not be for the Colts, but somebody will pay him. Same for Roethlisberger. He's 38. He got a cap hit of $41 million next year. And somebody going to pay it. And it goes back to, this is why I would give up so much for Deshaun Watson. I would legit give up 5 first-rounders for him and not think twice. Because he's like 24, maybe 24 or 25, one of them. And the plan is not to have Deshaun for the next 10 years. The plan is to have Deshaun now for the next 17 years. You know what I'm saying? It ain't him playing till he's 34. It's him playing till he's 42. So if I could give up 5 first-round picks and get that, absolutely. Absolutely. And the leads, Abuj had a follow-up question. He said they should say no. But if the Texans do take picks 3, 18, 35 from the Dolphins for Watson, will they fumble the draft capital as bad as the Raiders did in 2019? They went with Clelin Ferrell at 4, Josh Jacobs 24, Jonathan Abrams at 27. And the answer to that is of course they would. It's the Texans. Of course they would fumble the draft capital. They're in this position for a reason. And the reason, Abuj, is that they're bad. That's why. I know y'all saw Andre Johnson tweet this week. He said, hey, if I'm Deshaun Watson, man, stick to your guns. Do not go back to that shit organization. I'm paraphrasing. But Andre Johnson don't speak at all. Who's heard Andre Johnson speak in voice? Raise your hand. Right? He don't speak. I ain't know he had a Twitter. I look back, he hadn't had a advertisement or something retweeted since April 2019, almost 2 years. But this was just on his spirit, man. He couldn't take it no more. So yeah, they can get all the picks they want for him. They'd mess it up. Unless they're ready to hire me. It is what it is. They know what needs to be done. My number's on file. And I'll tell you what I do, since you asked. I need Tua back. Just go and give me Tua back. That's my quarterback. I'm set there. Number 3 pick, I'm trading down no matter what. They need a lot of help. They need more draft capital. It's a pretty solid draft, first round at least. So I'm trading back no matter what, then taking whoever the best available left. With the 18th pick, I go wide receiver. Like Rondale Moore, Bateman, some man from Ohio State, Olavi. Now, whoever's left. Like, we just see so many rookie wide receivers drafted within the first, like, 1 or 2 rounds, just immediately contribute. So I take them 18. And 35, I go, like, offensive line. And I'm, like, we're setting up for the rebuild. I get rid of J.J. Watt for whatever I can get. And we starting to cook with grease, man. I'd still have a couple first-round picks, ideally next year. Because, again, I would, if it was Tua, 3, 18, and 2 future picks, I would do that for both sides. I most certainly would. This leads to a question from Elijah Squid. Elijah says, are you aware that in the 05, 04, and 07 drafts, the Raiders selected the picks right before Larry Fitzgerald, Aaron Rodgers, and Calvin Johnson. And they ended up with none of those guys. They got Robert Gallery, Fabian Washington, and Jamarcus Russell, respectively, instead. Can you imagine how good Oakland's offense could have been if they picked the right guys? Listen, they would have had all 3 of those guys and still went 7-9. Because they're bad. They're bad. And that's why I'm really not that big on teams getting like multiple first rounders and thinking like they're all set. Because again, the Raiders had them 3 and it's like, oh, they're ready to go. And they took a pass rusher who has, I think, 6 sacks in 2 years, a pass rusher that can't rush the passer. They took an in-box safety, and they took a running back. In unrelated news, they did not make the playoffs this year. And I always think back, I got to go back to make sure. If you remember 1999, I don't imagine 70% of the people listening right now weren't born in 1999. But 1999, the Washington football team, they weren't called the football team then, kids, but they were coming off a 10-win season. 10-win season, won the wild card game, lost the second round to the Buccaneers by 1 point. And going into that following year, the draft, the 2000 draft, they had the number 2 and 3 picks in the draft. 2 and 3. They picked Chris Samuels, offensive tackle, and they picked LeVar Arrington, linebacker. Both of these guys made multiple Pro Bowls. Both of these guys made the top 80 all-time skins list. Top 80. Like, for football, for a team that's been around that long, that's high praise. And you got them in back-to-back picks. You know what they did during their tenure? They had a winning record exactly twice. Winning record exactly twice with those guys on the roster. And they won 1 playoff game over the next decade. Next time they were in the playoffs was RG3. You remember him, don't you? You remember how that ended up. So, I just, like, you can have as many picks as you want if you're bad. And you can not have as many picks as you need. If you're good, you'll figure it out. And if you're bad, you'll mess it up. Like, an equivalent this year would be the Rams are 10-6 right now. Right? They just won a playoff game. They'll probably lose this week, just like Washington. Went 10-6, won a game, then lost a game. Imagine if you gave the Rams the 2nd and 3rd pick in the draft this year. Like, you just hand it to Sean McVay and crew. Like, they did this trade back, and get absolute hauls to recoup what they've traded and get draft capital, get some cheap players in there. Or they just take, like, Sewell, the tackle from Oregon, like 2. Say they take Devontae Smith 3, and they just, like, laugh maniacally. Like, imagine blowing that. That's what bad teams do. That's what bad teams do. Washington did it. The Raiders, I know the Raiders got Super Bowls. Listen, not in the time that anybody listening to this was born. And the Texans, I mean, again, Andre Johnson probably had to reset his password. It was like, hey, man, somebody tell me what my mother's maiden name is. Because I got to get on Twitter and tell these people how awful the Texans are. Getting to a couple questions here. 1, maybe 2, no more. First one from AW. AW says, what's the weirdest sports channel combo you could come up with? And I mean, it's of course based off of the NFL and Nickelodeon collabing last week, which I enjoyed. I feel like people, for the most part, enjoyed. I was very hesitant at first, but it was good. It was entertaining. They did the best they could. Noah Eagle, Nate Burleson, and Gabby. I don't know her last name. They were all good, but the weirdest sports channel like combo I could come up with, and not even really weird. It's just something I'd like to see. I'd like to see the Spike TV channel do the NFL, right? Like Spike TV is already for men, and football is the manliest man sport. Of course, everyone knows that. But I just would like to see how they go like completely over the top. Like Nate Burleson would be like, you get a first down, and first down is like when you take out the dishes and you clean up the driveway or whatever kids do, whatever chores or shit. But I feel like Spike TV, they would just go too. It's like a first down. It's like when you see a big old pair of titties with your homeboy, and then you high five them, and then you eat a pine cone, and you drink some motor oil because you're a dude. Like, there's some shit like that. I think the Slime Zone would probably be a little different. Probably NSFW. I won't put any ideas in anybody's head there. But I feel like they could get, the booth be like Lacey Duvall up there with Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth. They're just explaining the finer points of the game to her. And she's just relating it all to things that happen in her line of work. Not that anyone listening is familiar with her line of work. Next question. Moving on very rapidly from that one. In honor of the game on Nickelodeon, which Nick cartoon character would you want on your NFL team? And I couldn't even think of Nick cartoons, man. I really had to go back and see. I feel like I want Harold from Hey Arnold. You remember Big Charles McGraw? He had like one tooth. But I need him on the line, man. I need him either plugging up the line on defense, playing some left tackle. So that'd be the Nick cartoon character. Overall character, I don't know if y'all remember this game. It was like 2000, 2001. Y'all remember Bugs vs. Daffy? Bugs vs. Daffy was a computer game. It was Bugs vs. Daffy, the big game. And you were Bugs, and you had to keep scoring on offense. You were only one Bugs. So it was like 19 Daffy, so you really had the odds stacked against you. But Bugs was looking like Dunkley out there, man. He's running the ball. He's throwing it to himself. He's zigging. He's zagging. All to lead his team to victory, man. So, yeah, Nick character. Give me Harold from Hey Arnold. Non-Nick, that's got to be Bugs. Got to be Bugs, Barry Sanders, Bunny, all day long. Next question. I like it's a little double dose, but we're going to talk a little Peaky. We're going to talk a little Peaky Blinders. First question is, I was surprised when you said season 3 of Peaky Blinders was your favorite, since it's my least favorite. You put least in all caps. But in parentheses, he put they're all really close. Could be a deep dive, but how would you rank the seasons? He's got them 2, 4, 1, 5, 3. Who I think was the best villain, favorite non-Shelby characters. Then another question from Sweatsuit Tony said, what are the power ranking of the villains in Peaky Blinders? However you want to rank them, like personal favorite, how well they match up with Tommy, most ruthless, easiest to root for, etc. So, we'll talk a little Peaky, and I'm not going to spoil anything. Like, I would highly encourage everybody to watch it. It's Netflix, 6 episodes a season, hour a pop. Like, there are no filler episodes, which is what I really appreciate. I've got it ranked as of right now, and this is subject to change because I'm thinking about doing a rewatch of that, and we might do a big chat about it the way we did with The Wire. I've got it 3, 5, 1, 2, 4. 4 was my least favorite. 4 was my least favorite. I'll get into that a little later. I think the best villain, or my favorite villain, was season 5, Oswald Mosley. Like, it was the first one where, like, you start to see it before even Tommy realizes it. It's like, he can't beat this guy. Like, all the villains in the past, it's like, okay, yeah, now how is Tommy going to wriggle himself out of this inconvenient situation? And he does. But this time with Mosley, it's like, man, this motherfucker is the devil. He's really the devil. So he got to be my first one. Second best villain, was from season 3. It's part of why it's my favorite. Father Hughes, man. Father Hughes was so evil. Like, he had all his bases covered, and he had like the backing of the church. He was in it dirty with everybody. Again, I really try not to spoil it, but he was just a bad guy all around. But he was also a priest, so it was like, Tommy, you can't just go and kill the priest like he normally would, anybody else causing trouble. So he was second. Third best, give me Chester Campbell, man. He was season 1 and season 2. I used to call him Officer Belvedere because he looked like Mr. Belvedere. But he was just one of those, like, I'm by the book, and I'm going to catch you doing something by the book. If I have to bend the rules of the book to catch you doing something illegal in the book, I'll do that too. So those are probably the top 3 villains. My least favorite, season 4, and that's part of why season 4 is my least favorite. Luca Shangreta. It was Adrian Brody, and I feel like he was just laying it on like way, way too thick. Like, all the other villains were just kind of just regular villains. He wanted to be like a super Italian. My mother, you understand? She's a nice Italian lady. Like, I didn't like it. I didn't like it from the very first time he stepped up at the train station. Now, I would say they did have some good scenes. Like the question earlier, all the seasons are good. There are no bad seasons of this show. Knock on wood, because Game of Thrones has learned me a terrible lesson. But I didn't like season 4. It was the one, like, the family was splintered. They were, disagreeing about a lot. And again, there's not a whole lot I can say without spoiling. But I didn't like the family being torn apart in the ways that they were torn apart. But I will say for season 4, it has a great finale. Tremendous finale leading into 5. And it does have one of my favorite scenes in the entire show, any season. And it might be the first episode. It's pretty early in the season, I believe. And it's where Tommy's in the house and he realizes that the chefs aren't really chefs. Right? Like, him just putting it all together, him crunching the numbers like in real time, and then the scene happens, and just the way that scene ends is like jarring. One of those, I had to like pause it for a minute. It was like, holy shit, like that was a scene. So even with 4 of my least favorite, it's still got one of my favorite scenes in the entire show. My favorite non-Shelby character, I don't know if Aunt Polly counts, because she's a Gray, and she'll remind you that she's a Gray, not a Shelby. But if she don't count, it's Aunt Polly, man. She was with the shits, like from day one. But non-Shelby, non-Gray, give me May Carlton, man. I always loved May Carlton. Like, she was just a bad bitch. She just had all her ducks in a row. She still made some time for her man. But if he wasn't on it, she was like, fuck it. Like, I'm still a bad bitch. I own horses. And also, I didn't know she was married to Tom Hardy in real life. I don't know if that was like that happened because of the show, or like one of them was on the show and was like, I know would be great for this role, my spouse. But I like May Carlton. And then again, Tom Hardy, man, Alfie Solomons. How could you not love Alfie Solomons? He does two very despicable things over the course of his appearances, but just a great character, man. Alfie Solomons is just a great character in general. So, like, looking some of these up, trying to talk about it without spoiling it was tough. So it might be time for a rewatch. I think I've forgotten enough of the minutia, like the details. Remember, I tried to rewatch it a while ago, but watching like season 1, I could still remember like where things were going exactly. It's like I need more time. So it's definitely been enough time. It might be time to rewatch it. So if y'all down, let me know. We might do the gang rewatches it and discusses it either as a whole, season by season. I don't know, but we'll see. It will be getting rewatched at some point. Next question. Can you talk about the Great Molasses Flood? It's one of those things I can't believe is even real, especially the fact that molasses can reach a speed of 35 miles an hour. Here's a link, and it links to the Great Molasses Flood. This was one that I knew of, didn't really know a whole lot about. So we did a little bit of deep diving is what we did. What happened was in 19, I think it was 19, this was in Boston, Massachusetts, to be clear. And a tank full of molasses exploded, right? But that's really underselling it. It was a 2.3 million gallon tank that exploded. And I read it was enough to fill 3.5 Olympic swimming pools full of molasses. Okay, like the tank itself was 50 feet tall and 90 feet in diameter. Like as big as a building. There are pictures of it. It's big. It's bigger than buildings. And it's all molasses. Why so much molasses? That's what I asked myself. That's what I said. And I found out it was so much molasses, they had put it together pretty quickly because they were racing against prohibition. The thing I didn't know about molasses, you can ferment it to produce ethanol. Ethanol goes into alcohol, of course. And apparently you can use like parts of molasses for bombs. That's the part I didn't know. I was like, I'll be damned. So found out that the 18th Amendment, the prohibition one, was ratified the day after the Great Molasses Flood in Boston. And it took effect the next year. So they were really trying to like, hey, we basically got 1 year left to ferment as much molasses as we can, get to this bread. And mistakes were made. But like, just imagine 2.3 million gallons of molasses just running down the streets. Like on the density scale, molasses is the same exact density as honey. Like if you're not as familiar with molasses, like just imagine like just how viscous, how thick honey is. Just imagine a wave of that. Imagine a wave of honey that was rushing down the street. Again, 35 miles per hour. The wave was 25 feet high of molasses. I couldn't believe it. Just for reference, giraffes grow to be about 20 feet tall. Okay, so this wave was taller than a giraffe, rushing down the street at 35 miles per hour. At his peak, Usain Bolt runs 29 miles per hour. So this thing's taller than a giraffe. It's faster than Usain Bolt. And it's as viscous as honey and as sticky, right? Like in terms of like the power of this wave, it tipped a streetcar off the tracks. It tossed the truck into the Boston Harbor. Like the tank was right by the one of the rivers in Boston. It swept buildings completely off their foundation. Some blocks were flooded 2 to 3 feet high of molasses. And I think the most impressive thing, it like the beams used to like hold up trains, like the railroad, it collapsed those beams. That's how strong the flow of molasses was. And it was basically, like from what I read, it was moving quicksand. Right? This is a quote from one of the things that I read from I guess somebody that either lived to see it or wrote about it, whatever. Molasses, waist deep, covered the street and swirled and bubbled about the wreckage. Here and there struggled to form. Whether it was an animal or a human being was impossible to tell. Only an upheaval, a thrashing about in the sticky mass showed where any life was. Horses died like so many flies on sticky fly paper. The more they struggled, the deeper in the mess they were ensnared. Human beings, men and women, suffered likewise. End quote. This killed 21 people. And injured 150 more. No telling how many horses, animals were killed from this. And of the survivors or like the people around, they reported hearing like machine gun fire. And they couldn't figure out what the machine gun fire was. It was the rivets. Like the rivets are, I don't know, like screws, right? Like rivets in the tank were like the screws that basically held the steel together. It was the rivets being ejected from the tank when it exploded. It sounded like machine gun fire. That's how much pressure this shit was under. So you got those shooting out. It's molasses in the street. And also, don't forget, the tank was made of steel. So this steel has just been weaponized now. So this This steel is just moving in and around throughout the city, also wrecking things. So it was sick. I say all that to say it was very sick. Also found out they had a fresh batch. They just had some delivered because, again, they're trying to beat the prohibition buzzer. They warmed it up to help it be transferred. Again, you see, like when honey's cold, it ain't moving for nothing. When it's warmer, you could drizzle it on your biscuit. You know what I mean? But again, let me remind you, it was January in Boston. Okay, so it got cold quick. Real quick. Another quote. Rescuers found it difficult to make their way through the syrup to help the victims, and 4 days elapsed before they stopped searching. Many of the dead were so glazed over in molasses that they were hard to recognize. Other victims were swept into the Boston harbor and were found there 3 to 4 months after the disaster. A court-appointed auditor found USIA, that was the company, responsible after 3 years of hearings, and the company ultimately paid $628,000 in damages. That's $9.26 million in 2019, adjusted for inflation. Relatives of those killed received around $7,000 per victim. That's equivalent to $103,000 in inflation. It did $100 million in damage in today's money from a molasses explosion. And so I asked myself, I said, how could this happen? How? Guess, just guess. It was two things. Two things. I'll give you two guesses. Okay, it was greed and incompetence. Of course. I feel like those are the two bases, I don't know, of just about any catastrophe. I've read something that said an inquiry after the disaster revealed that Arthur Jail, the USIA treasurer for the company, neglected basic safety tests while overseeing construction of the tank, such as filling it with water insufficient to check for leaks. He ignored warning signs such as groaning noises each time the tank was filled. He had no architectural or engineering experience. When filled with molasses, the tank leaked so badly that it was painted brown to hide the leakage. Local residents collected leaked molasses for their homes. They said kids would run up and put their cup under it. You can just get a cup of molasses, not like a cup of molasses on a warm summer day. He said a 2014 investigation applied modern engineering analysis and found that the steel, like the steel from the tank, was half as thick as it should have been for a tank that size. Even with the lax standards of the day, it also lacked manganese, which made the tank a lot more brittle. The tank's rivets were also apparently flawed, and cracks first formed at the rivet holes, which, again, the rivets, like, that's where it's bolted, like, to be held together. If it's cracks there, you in a whole heap of trouble. And so I was like, what's the manganese got to do with it? And also, what the hell is manganese? I didn't get that far. But I did find that not enough manganese meant the metal in the tank became very brittle when it was below 59 degrees outside. Now, again, this is right by the river in Boston in January. So it was colder than 59 degrees. It was colder than 59 degrees. They said it took months to clean up. They said anything you touched in the city, again, for months would be sticky. And now people still swear that when it gets hot enough, you can still smell molasses in the city. So that was the deep dive on the great molasses flood. What a grim thing to ask for research. But an interesting nonetheless. It was a good deep dive. Thank you for that. Next question we've got from Hot Boy Hogrum. Hogrum says, given recent photos of James Harden's body type and Joel Embiid's body shape, who is your all-time Chonk team? Let me say this first. I think Harden was wearing the pre-game warm-ups. I think he was wearing them a little snug on purpose. You know what I'm saying? A little snug on purpose. You tuck the shirt in. And give almost anybody a belly. You know what I'm saying? I think it was just a little test. He was like, listen, I'm willing to go as far as it takes. So I'll say that. But my team, my all Chonk team, the center, give me Jokic, man. He's the captain too. Because he did it, like, people were calling him fat. And then he played like 66 playoff minutes. And then they called him fat again. And then he made All-NBA. And then they called him fat again. And then he went to the conference finals. He's the captain. He's just got this figured out. My Chonk King. Power forward. Former Wizard. Y'all remember Jahidi White, man? Y'all remember Jahidi White? He was like 6'9", like 290 was like the playing weight. So you know you can probably double that. They didn't update the weights back then. And the thing I remember about Jahidi White, he had like stretch marks on like the front of his arms. And I was like, oh man, that nigga just like me, man. I got them tiger stripes. My small forward, give me Boris Diaw, the Frenchman himself. I just feel like you could probably smell the croissant butter on his breath. And you still couldn't stop him from giving you 13 points, 8 boards, 6 assists, hit a couple threes, moving his feet and playing post defense. So he's my 3. My shooting guard, give me Raymond Felton, man. People, like fans of NBA teams just laughing, and not even laughing, just yelling at Raymond Felton. Really brought a lot of fan bases together. And what makes it better is I have a friend at the time like looked just like Raymond Felton. Like same shaped head. They was like the same color, same low haircut, same beard, everything. And anytime he would eat anything, it just be easy, Raymond. Like, you know, y'all play the Timberwolves later today, so careful. Do you need another potato wedge? And he was like, fuck you guys. And we'd laugh. We'd laugh at his expense. But my point guard, give me Khalid El-Amin, man. Go back and look at Khalid El-Amin. He was listed at 5'10", 200 pounds. In elementary school, maybe. You know what I'm saying? But he was getting buckets. He was on that Rip Hamilton championship UConn team. He played with the Bulls, I think a year, maybe 2, not too long, but he did play in the NBA. And I was like, if that's what 5'10", 200 pounds looks like, yeah, I want to be 5'10", 200 pounds, wink, wink, when I grow up. But my 6 man, give me Shaq Diesel, man. Give me Shaq Diesel. And Shaq Diesel, he's here just because at any point in the season, he could be Chonk or Diesel. You know, it's like a real mixed bag. He really kept us on our toes. Like, you catch a November game, season just started, Shaq just had some toe surgery, and he's 427 pounds. Playoffs get there, it's May, it's June. He's 317 of muscle. He's spinning, knocking people out crazy. His arms are busting out of the damn jersey. I like the variance. There. So, yeah, that's my all-time Chonk team. Give me Nikola Jokic, Jahidi White, Boris Diaw, Raymond Felton, Khalid El-Amin, with Shaq Diesel off the bench. I guess I need a coach, too. Give me Stan Van Gundy, man. Stan Van Gundy, one of those, like, he looked big, and then you see him like doing the crossover in shorts and stuff. He really not that big. I think he just got like a big chest. He built like a robin. You know what I'm saying? Like a sparrow of some sort. But give me Coach SVG. And speaking of Hot Boy Holgram, we have got a new segment here. So, a couple weeks ago, the boy Grum hit me up with an idea for a Farm Report segment. Again, we had the Morse Code guys on last week. Had the Splash Brothers week before. This week, Grum hit me with a great idea. It's called Dork Side of the Ring, right? Grum said, I'm an avid wrestling fan who knows way too much and watches old shit that makes no sense anywhere outside of wrestling. And the Discord has the perfect people to get their reaction on that. The idea is he gives context to some event, him and a different core member. They watch it, and they really just react to it. So I told Grum Cornette, like, the stage is his. So the following will be Dork Side of the Ring. We will check back in after that, but I'm looking forward to what very obscure event that we're all about to learn about. So I will let Grum take it away.
Welcome to the Dork Side of the Ring. I am the hot boy himself, Grum. With me for the first ever one, Jim Jam 9000.
Hello.
So, a little context before the context. I got the idea to, based off of everybody's enjoying of the dark side of the ring, to do the dork side of the ring, which the idea being things that only make sense in wrestling and the context of wrestling, and the idea of showing that and like getting the reaction of people who've never seen that before, because like it's been enjoyable for me as a wrestling fan to see a lot of non-wrestling fans like learn about, you know, how fucked up the wrestling business really is, you know, and people just being in awe of like New Jack and disgusted by Vince McMahon. And for me, it's just like, yeah, I've known that for years. So like for me, it's you know, but like I also enjoy the like, hey, this outrageous thing happened, and then to show it to somebody who might be a wrestling fan, but they didn't know that happened, and that's still outrageous to them, or they're not a wrestling fan, and the idea is so preposterous, and they're disgusted, or they just can't believe it. And this first one we're doing, I figured was a perfect one because it is the epitome of what it was. Also, I was watching it, and I said, this is the idea. So the year is 2000. It is February 20th, 2000. In the year 2000, it is Super Bowl 2000. WCW's I think it's their final Super Bowl pay-per-view. Leading up to this, Ernest the Cat Miller, a former multiple time actual like legit karate champion, is in a back and forth with another wrestler by the name of the Maestro, who is, from the sounds of it, you can determine that they are a Beethoven-esque, you know, artist, conductor type character.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They were arguing about the better genre, soul music, or classical, to the point where they got into a point where Ernest the Cat Miller said he knew James Brown, and he was challenged to show proof. Well, it came down to the wire in Super Bowl 2000. And I'm going to show Jim Jam here some. So I'm going to show him the context.
Can I say something first off before you hit play? This man's outfit is remarkable. I don't know if this is going to come through on the fun report, but like the leopard print is phenomenal here.
Yeah, right. It's a leopard print. It's a full leopard print. Like it's a silk leopard print vest with matching pants. But then the bucket hat is also. It's a different material, and it does not match. And he's got a scarf that is not matching nor leopard print. Mean Gene Okerlund has to stand next to him. So I'm going to play this for. I'm going to play him a little bit more context to it. But next time you hear us, you'll hear me and Jim Jam breaking down what it is. Mainly Jim Jam's reaction to this because it's.
Yes.
It is quite possibly the most outrageous thing I've ever seen. So the segment goes like this. Ernest the Cat Miller comes out. He lambasts the shit out of some of the fat people in the crowd. Gets classic
he had abuse for one fat woman in the crowd. Only one on the side of the thing. He
kept calling them rednecks. So he was the whole thing, to the point where they're flipping him off. You know, in the actual thing, you can see somebody very distinctly flip him off.
You can see one of these bastard rednecks throw out multiple middle fingers in a row, the whole 9 yards, even with the like.
Look like the fucking guy at the Sixers game flipping off Russell Westbrook.
Exactly.
So he does that. Then he brings out a fake James Brown, who. The color commentators argue is actually not the James Brown that they were promised, to the point where he's like, well, I had dinner with James Brown last night. He didn't look that bad.
Yeah.
They said he looked like Al Sharpton, more like
Al
Sharpton than James
Again,
Brown.
I know Al Sharpton used to be a fat man, but listen, I don't know, man. Like I know Al Sharpton never looked like that.
No. The whole time, this guy is clearly an actor. They got to play him, and he's eating it up. He's high-fiving people, and there are people with the enthusiasm of high-fiving an actual celebrity. Because you can tell...
As if it was actually James Brown, which, again, I don't know if you're going to put it in. Can't stress enough, I think they thought it was actually James Brown until the actual James Brown comes out. And then I'm pretty sure they were like, how in God's name did they make 2 James Browns?
Now, mind you, this is San Francisco. This event was taking place in San Francisco. So
known rednecks of San Francisco.
Exactly. A lot of they cut to it while Ernest the Cat Miller comes out, because at the time he came out to a very similar James Brown type soul song. They cut to a lady who is just enjoying herself. She's toe tapping. She's got her shoulders moving, and her man is just sitting there like, I'm not having a good time. I'm not. And then she gets caught.
Yeah, I hate
the camera, and she realizes she's on the camera. Yeah,
and she points at it.
And then she does a whole embarrassed thing. It's quality stuff. But after the fake soul man comes out, the maestro comes out, and he is not having a good time. He's having a good time because if James Brown didn't show up,
he realizes he won the bet.
He won the bet. He was going to have a bag man, not that kind of bag man, but he was going to have a man for his bags, to the point where Ernest the Cat Miller says, "This ain't driving Miss Daisy." The only thing that I'll be driving...
A great reference.
The only thing I'll be driving are these red shoes up your ass. And then he exposes the fraud for being a fraud. It's actually a bald man wearing a wig. And he's like, says who? And then James Brown comes over the mic and he says me, and everybody loses their absolute shit.
Which, hold on, I'd like to put a pause on that just for a quick second.
Yeah.
I want to go back to James Brown's entrance, the actual James Brown, not the fake one. But we could talk about the fake one. Both of them are really good, but for separate reasons. But the real James Brown's entrance was fantastic because it started out with basically how oh God, what's the dead comedian's name? He played the Wiz in the Wiz. Basically how him and the Wiz was just like, says who? Like, no one knows where that came from. Everyone's looking around, like trying to figure out where that came from. And the camera is going berserk trying to figure out where that noise came from, as if it came from anywhere else but behind the curtain. And then it's fixated on the curtain, like on the entrance ramp, and a myriad of people come out that have nothing yet everything to do with James Brown. Like, they all come out and they're dancing down the ring. They zoom in on one black guy with like dreads for some unknown reason. Like, he's the only person that gets like that, like, where he is at all times. And then it zooms back out and it just shows them dancing on each side of the entrance ramp, which I enjoy, because I would imagine that's how James Brown would come out for anything. Like, I need attention immediately, James Brown. Like, and
his entourage had an entourage. Like,
yeah, exactly. And then he comes out with a second entourage of people. First off, faster than I've ever seen anyone. Like, that was the first thing I noticed. Like, they came out and they were all immediately standing out. They weren't still walking around trying to get to their places. Like, James Brown comes out and then his entire group is out, almost like they appeared on the ring behind him, on the floor behind him. It was fantastic. And then he actually gets into the ring, which you can take from here now.
Yeah. Well, no, look, the highlight of you watching that live was the face that the Stro had.
He was shocked.
He had his whole face was shaking. They cut to his face and he is convulsing. Then they cut back to James Brown walking down, and they cut back and Ernest the Cat Miller is fanning a now fainted Stro because he can't handle it. He's overwhelmed.
His face seeing James Brown was the same shade of when you hit like the end button when you hang up the phone. Like it was the same color.
Yeah, no, and then James Brown comes in and proceeds to have a dance off with. Ernest the Cat Miller tells them to turn the music off, and then James Brown says, "Cut my music on." And Ernest is like, "All right, I guess we're going to do this." And now I have to say, should we turn it up? And they're like, "Turn it up!" And 100%, him saying "turn it up." If I was a rapper, I would put that in the intro of a song. It would just.
Oh, I need it.
Just like at the start, and then it goes into the beat for whatever reason, kind of like crank this motherfucker up.
That'd be such a good producer
right?
tag.
Turn it up. We're gonna turn it up, James. Yeah, turn it up. Turn it up. And then they just proceed to break it down, and James does like one trademark move. Meanwhile, the cat is just like flipping his feet around, just cutting up.
He's doing splits. He's tearing it up.
All to get that, and then he gets caped. Then he gets the cape.
He gets caped. It was fantastic.
It was absolutely ridiculous. And then you said that should have been the main event. Or as far as you're concerned, that was the main event.
Because it was. I can't like I don't care what else you tell me what happened that night.
Nothing. That is.
I would have never seen it. I would have been like, oh my God, did you see when James Brown came out and they wrapped up the show with that? And someone could tell me at school the next day that they had 3 more matches and the final match was Scott Hall versus whoever. I don't care. The main event was when Cat got knighted by the Godfather of Soul with that cape, and then that show ended because I turned the TV off because I didn't need more.
No, you didn't need any more. You didn't need any more. But yes, that was. Look. That's the epitome of the dork side of the ring, because this is not in either the Cats or James Brown or the Stroh's like Wikipedia pages. Like, it's just a one-off thing that just happened, and it was just electric. There's no reason for it to have happened. There's no reason. He wasn't promoting anything. Nothing was happening. They were just like, "Hey, can we get James Brown? Sure, let's get James Brown." The height of just do whatever, throw shit at a wall. WCW. Hey, Ernest the Cat is a soul guy. He dances, and he yells at people. Can we get James Brown?
You know who probably hates soul? Classical music like this. Like, yeah, like
yeah. Obviously, we're gonna have him feud with the Beethoven guy. You're gonna be strolling with Beethoven is still a fire line. I'm mad that never got he never went anywhere, because that is like.
Strolling with Beethoven. Yeah, no, that's strong.
You will be strolling with Beethoven. It's like, all right.
Did you bring up the fact that after Soul, so how it works is James Brown comes out, Maestro's face is bright red, looks like the cover of a 2K, and then it goes right back to James Brown. James Brown dancing his way up the ring, and then out of nowhere they cut right back to Stroh. Yeah, Stroh's like dead in the ring. Absolutely. Like I can't stress enough. He's absolutely dead in the ring. Symphony, his
valet.
What do you call it? Valet. Yes, his valet is like bringing up. You know, like when referees and like submissions are just like, all right, like they lift his hand up a couple times to see if he can like fight back. Mm-hmm. No, each time falls back to the ground. The match would have been over, and James Brown would have won off interesting. Like he couldn't believe it. It's so funny, and they roll what appears to be just Maestro's dead body just out of the ring. Just Symphony's just like, let me just get this man out of here, and we'll deal with the funeral later.
That was the first dork side of the ring. I hope everybody had a blast. I know Jim Jam did. Jim Jam furiously had a good time.
I'm sick that I had a good time. End of the day.
Right. Well,
yeah. And if I hear this on the Fun Report.
Yeah, we're having fun. We're having fun. Back to you, Tyler.
All right. All right. Back to you, Tyler.
Back to you.
All right. I had to cut that off. I'm glad they did, because I was going to have to cut it off. You want to talk about having fun? I got no time for you. You want to talk about Ernest the Cat Miller? I got a little time. I got a little time for Ernest the Cat Miller. Somebody better call my mama. That was my favorite part, man. I feel like I said that one time in class, and the teacher's like, you want me to call it for real? And I was like, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. That would not be necessary. I was just imitating Ernest the Cat Miller. But no, thank you to Grum and Jim Jam for the first dork side of the ring. I think my favorite part of that entire thing was Jim Jam saying, what's the dead comedian's name? Because that's like saying, like, what's that tall basketball player's name, man? You know the one I'm talking about, the tall one. Like all the comedians are dead. All the good ones. Most of the good ones. 90 to 92% tops are the good ones. But yeah, I had to look up that video afterwards. I feel like I remember seeing the pictures of Ernest the Cat Miller and James Brown together, but I'd never seen the entire segment. So James Brown, like the entourage that had the entourage. So I had like a stunt double for your stunt double. Like if somebody fuck up my stunt double, I know it's time to get out of here. Y'all got to see this picture. I might make it the cover picture just so y'all can see these boots James Brown had on. They just remind me of like the boots. You seen Wizard of Oz when the house fall on the witch and the little boots just curl up. That's the type of shoes James Brown had on. And quiet as it's kept, Ernest the Cat Miller was out dancing James Brown. It's fine. It's fine. But he was definitely fucking him up there. So, yeah, that was Dork Side of the Ring. Get back to a few questions. One, maybe two more. Got one from Jonah. Jonah says, do you think Nick Saban could take a non-Power 5 school to the playoffs or championship? Or is the current system really just made impossible for that to happen? Now, I'm unsure if you mean like if he just takes over like 1 year, like next year, could he get him in the playoffs? Or is it like if he just takes a job there and he's got like the next 5 years or whatever? Because I took it as the latter, and if Nick Saban just took over like Appalachian State tomorrow, I absolutely think he'd have him in the playoff in 5 years. He would have Western Michigan kicking substantial ass in the college football playoff. And that got me to thinking, like Saban, like it's beneficial. He got 7 rings now. He's definitely the best college football coach of all time. But I wonder, like I'm curious to where he ranks in terms of like all-time coaches. Right? Like he didn't have the most rings. That's Phil and Red Auerbach, and I don't know how many Joe Torre got. But I think I'd put him above those guys. Like he only get his guys for four years, max. Most of them 3 because they're good, really good. So I for that one reason, and 2, every single game matters in college football. It's the only sport where every single game matters. You lose a regular season game in baseball, college basketball means the least. NFL, like it's hard to overcome. It might affect your seeding, but it don't matter. College football, like you sleep on the smaller team early in the season because you got LSU next week, that can ruin your entire year. You can't sleep on the big teams, right? Like especially in your own division, you might not make your own title game. You might not win the SEC West. And Saban got 7 of them things in an 11-year run. Like John Wooden's got to be up there. He ran up 10 rings in a 12-year run, including 7 in a row, which is absurd. Like, and in that run, he had 4 undefeated seasons. He had 3 one-loss seasons. And he won 38 straight tournament games at one point. And that's the thing where it's like, man, I don't care if you did get all the best recruits. One, it's a reason you got him. And listen, if he was cheating, I don't care. He wasn't the only team with money or whatever they say he was cheating. Doesn't really bother me. So you getting all the recruits and still going on a run like that, yeah, you doing something right, coaching. Because again, the college basketball regular season don't matter, but the postseason is still a 1-game playoff. And it was 4 rounds back then. Like now you got to win 6 games straight. Back then it was 4 rounds back to back, but you also played back-to-back days, right? Like you would play like Friday, Saturday, get the week off, and then Friday's the Final Four, Saturday's the championship, which is chaos. That's how he did it for his first 4 titles. Then they changed the rules. They started giving you the day off where you play Friday, Saturday, or Friday, have Saturday off and play Sunday a week, and then Friday, Saturday off, then Sunday. They started doing that. He ran up 6 more rings. And for the last year he ever coached, they changed it to 5 rounds. You had to win 5 rounds to win the title. He won that title too. And then he retired. He was like, listen, y'all not going to keep adding titles and games and shit to the boy Wooden, not the Wizard. And he got the fuck out of Dodge. So he probably the GOAT. You got to throw Gino Auriemma in there, like Pat Summitt. But I don't even know how many Gino Auriemma's got now. Like undefeated seasons now are, I feel like it's a disappointment if you don't have an undefeated season. And it's like you have more control in college for sure, like for Wooden, Saban, Pat Summitt, Auriemma, all the legends. But you also, again, have them for a limited time. And I can't wait for somebody to mention some, I don't know, soccer coach that has like 54 rings. So looking forward to that. Next question. Not even a question. It was just it's a statement from Reddit. And the question is just thoughts. What are my thoughts on this? And from the Reddit, the subreddit, I should say, unpopular opinion, which strike 1. 2 is from somebody named Daddy Ravioli, strike 2. And 3, the title says, my husband believes running pizza underwater to cool it down is acceptable. Pretty much what the title says. Not my opinion, but my husband's. In college, my husband and I would make oven pizzas, and he would run his slices under the water fountain to cool it down faster. He said it didn't change the taste, and it was still good. My thoughts are, the first thing I always notice in things like these, like they always describe like a horrible person. Like, yeah, my husband, he run cold water over his pizza, or he wear the skin of our dog like a do-rag. We've been married 17 years. It'll be 17 years in May. Like, you should have ran for the hills, bitch. Why are you still around? This man is unwell. And if you tell me it didn't change the taste, you telling me the pizza sucked from the beginning, right? Don't even, like, why even bother? If you like it didn't change the taste, it sucked from the beginning. Don't waste a good pie with that, man. Go and eat you some pita bread and some hummus, you fucking miscreant. Like, why? I could even see if he did it with every food, right? He'd still belong in prison. But again, only with pizza? That's some shit Mush would do. You don't never want to do no shit Mush would do. And then I saw this thread, and I saw she posted the actual video of him standing over the kitchen sink, running a slice underwater, and then num down into his belly. And I just want everyone under the sound of my voice right now to know this man has a wife. This man has someone that is promised under the eyes of God and a court of law that she has to love him. She don't have a choice. She got to love this man. I want you to know his vote counts as much as yours. I want you to know he lives in your neighborhood. He might live right next to you. He might even be teaching your children to grow up and love someone like him. Just keep that in mind. God bless. Next question comes from King JTR. JTR says, what was the worst live event you ever been to? Could be a concert where the performer had a bad night, a game that had no excitement at all, or something where the show was good but other shenanigans got in the way of a good time. This one's easy. Jay-Z. Saw Jay-Z perform by himself, and it was the worst concert I've ever been to. It was a couple years ago, Phillips Arena, which is now State Farm Arena, where the Hawks play. And it was for the Magna Carta. Whenever that album came out, it was for that tour. And I'll still maintain, that album got a lot of hate. I think exactly half, I think it's 16 songs. It's either 14 songs or 16 songs. And I think exactly half of it is fire. And the other half are like songs I never want to hear again in my life. So I was like, okay, he's going to perform the ones I like and he'll play the old hits. So went to the show. First, he's late, right? It's one of those things where it's like Jay-Z likes everybody to be in their seat by the time he shows up, right? And it's like, okay, like, can you have some openers? He had no openers. No openers. So he comes out like 30, 35 minutes late, what really stinks is, okay, like there's a hotel connected to State Farm Arena, the Omni Hotel. And so I was staying at the Omni Hotel, my guest and I. So we were very drunk, right? So we're very drunk. Planned it to stumble right into the concert right on time, still be nice and drunk and ready to rap some Jay-Z. He come out 30 minutes later, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting a little undrunk. You know what I mean? So I checked later. They said that show was sold out. That show was not sold out. Because I remember thinking, if he waiting for everybody to get in their seats, man, we might not get a show because this bitch was not full. He had Timberland with him, which that was cool. Timberland was DJing live, like that was cool, but the audio was horrible. That's one of the things that made it a bad show. It was one of those, like, as Timberland's playing music, like, you know, a big drop in the beat's about to come, and you can see people like physically bracing for it because the speakers were like that bad, like eardrum shat, like it just wasn't good. And then Jay-Z came out. He would do like 5 songs and then take a break. He would change clothes while Timberland was like DJing. Beyonce can take a break, right? She up there looking amazing. She dancing her ass off. Both tiring. Jay-Z not up there, you know what I'm saying? He ain't up there doing the Tootsie Shuffle, right? He ain't up there looking like Beyonce, so what the hell? Like, what you need a break for? And then you realize he's 54 years old. I get it, but it don't make for a good show. Then he did close with the hits, which made it a little bit better. But, man, it was a letdown. He really is much better when he has someone else. Like, performing with Beyonce, you don't even notice Jay-Z. So he just got to perform with somebody else. But that was the worst live event I've ever been to. Next question is, oh boy, who killed JFK and why is it the CIA? Listen, man. Now, you know I was there that day, right? I feel like that's why I'm being asked this, because I was there that day. I was eating my lunch on the second floor of the book depository like I always do when I heard the same commotion that everybody else did. You know what I mean? I didn't know who it was. I don't really keep up with the, you know what I'm saying, celebrity culture and whatnot. It was 1963, November. But I looked outside. I saw a sweet Continental pulling around the corner, man. I said, let me get a look at that from a corner window. That's what I figured everybody was doing. I was like, I don't know, who is that guy in there? I don't know. I just see a guy. I just see the back of a guy's head. And then I didn't see the back of the guy's head anymore. I didn't see it anymore. It was just kablooey after that. So I say that to say this. I don't know who fired those shots or how many the CIA fired. Thank you for asking. Next question. Our next question is from that Duff guy, Pat, who was swept in the JC. Tragic. It said, please discuss this clip. I will give no context, but where does this rank with a drive to deep left by Castellanos? And what are some of your other favorite broadcast faux pas and screw-ups? I'm going to play this. I hope the audio will pick it up. This is from a college basketball game, like the in-booth analysis guy, Peter Burns from ESPN, is throwing it to Tom Hart. And I'll let them take it from there.
First half analysis. Now I kind of want to know a little bit more about Tom Hart's dog, Larry, actually.
Well, we had to put him down a few weeks ago, Peter. Thanks for asking. It's an awkward part of the conversation, but, John, you got tennis shoes behind you, and that's a lot more entertaining.
Oh, boy. That's tough. That's tough, right? This is an easy go-to, easy segue. Hey, how's your dog? Ha, 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 ha. He's fucking dead, Peter. The dog is dead. They ran over him. His head came off. He's dead. We had to put him down. How about you ask my friend here about his fucking shoes? They should have cut right back to Peter. Peter could at least, I don't know, got one more jab in. Be like, hey, nigga, I didn't know your dog was dead. Sorry. But I think the best part, I'm going to play it again. The best part is the before Tom Hart starts speaking. This is the best part to me.
First half analysis. Now I kind of want to know a little bit more about Tom Hart's dog, Larry, actually.
Well, we had to put him down a few weeks ago, Peter. Thanks for asking. It's an awkward part of the conversation, but, John, you got tennis shoes behind you, and that's a lot more entertaining.
Then the awkward laugh afterwards. It's just a tough scene all around, man. He was like, my dog's fucking dead. That's a corner three that'll rim out, and the Musketeers will get out on the break. Tom, tell us about those ugly-ass shoes you got behind you. So, like, favorite faux pas, man, honestly, it's before Tom Brenneman and after Tom Brenneman. I don't remember any faux pas before Tom Brenneman. Like, that was just that just changed the game. There will never be another. I don't know if I'm going to be putting on this hit. Oh, Castellanos got a hold of one. Oh, that's going over the left field wall. Like I said, I'm a man of faith. I have a wife, children. But yeah, there are no other faux pas. Though this is a good one. He's like Peter Burns here is off the hook because Castellanos, unless we find out Peter Burns knew all along, or we find out Peter Burns and Tom Hart just got some sort of long-standing beef, and he was like, yeah, I asked him about that dead-ass dog Dead ass dog. That dog dead as shit. Hey, Tom, how's your dead dog? Dead? Still? Is it still dead? Tom was like, yes. Yes, he is. Next question comes from Sal. Sal says, if you were to recreate the softball episode from The Simpsons, but with basketball players, who would you pick? It could be 80s, 90s players like in The Simpsons or a modern version. I like that question, Sal. Add it to the deep dive. That's a deep dive question. We're adding it to the next deep dive. It will be addressed. Next question comes from Hob. Hob says, who's worse at voting? Fans for All-Star games or baseball writers for the Hall of Fame? And it is 100,000% the Baseball Hall of Fame writers. They're the worst voters of anything that can really be voted on. I can't think of any recent elections or anything with worse voters. Nothing comes to mind. But I hate them for so many reasons. The first of which being like Mariano Rivera. I think last year, maybe 2 years ago or 2 classes ago, was the first person to ever get 100% of the vote. And I think that might bother me more than like Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, any of the steroid alleged guys not being in. And it's not because I got anything against Mariano Rivera. He was great. Should definitely be in. Jackie Robinson didn't get 80% of the votes. You know what I'm saying? Cy Young got 76% of the votes. When he retired, he had 150 more wins in second place. And to this day, nobody's closer than like 95. And he got 76% of the vote. He died in the year after they named the award after. Like, that's just how this works. You don't get nothing till you die. They won't bring you soup when you're sick, but they'll bring flowers to your funeral. To me, I think it's whack. But like Ken Griffey Jr., Derek G, like none of the guys, nobody has ever gotten 100%. Willie Mays got like 95%, I think. But Kurt Schilling, dusty ass, about to walk in. I don't like it. Now I looked up the rules. One of the rules says an elector will vote for no more than 10 eligible candidates deemed worthy of election. Write-in votes are not permitted. And it's a thing where it's like, okay, I know Ken Griffey Jr. is getting in, so I'm not going to vote for him. I'm going to use my vote for somebody else. That's a stupid plan. Okay? That's a stupid plan. If that's what your plan involves the ballots turning into, it's a stupid plan. Right? So that's one of the reasons I hate it. I hate the hypocrisy because I looked, again, the rule says voting shall be based upon the player's record, playing ability, integrity, sportsmanship, character, and contribution to the team or teams which the player played. So, Bonds and Clemens are not in. Ty Cobb and Tris Speaker bet on games. Bet on games. Tris Speaker was betting on games he was playing in and managing in, I believe. And it's allegations that both of them was in the KKK. Now, we know Ty, like KKK or not, we know the boy Ty Cobb was racist. If you don't know nothing about Ty Cobb, you know that like he got a lot of hits and he didn't like the blacks. Those are the 2 Ty Cobb facts. Also, Rogers Hornsby, Cap Anson, also allegedly, it's not proven, but it's whispers that they were in the KKK. So I looked it up. Cap Anson refused to play in games with black players. It says on August 10th, 1883, he refused to play an exhibition game against the Toledo Blue Stockings because their catcher, Moses Fleetwood Walker, great name, was African American. When Blue Stockings manager Charlie Morton told Anson the White Stockings would forfeit the gate receipts if they refused to play, Anson backed down, but not before uttering the word nigger on the field and vowing that his team would not play in such a game again. Another note on Cap Anson, bitch ass. A chronological review of 162 reports of bets on regular season baseball by players, managers, or club officials from 1876 tallied the sport's top bettors in that era as follows. Tied for number 4, Frank Robeson, the Cleveland Spiders owner, and King Kelly, mainly as Boston's captain. He's also a Hall of Famer. They had 7. 7 times they bet on regular season baseball. Tied for second, Edward Talcott, who was a millionaire stockbroker as a treasurer of the New York Giants, and Jim Mutry, mainly as a manager of the New York Giants, and his bets were mostly with Anson. They were tied for 9. Cap Anson's number 1. He was Chicago's captain and manager. He's in the Hall of Fame. He had 57. Okay, so tied for second was 9 apiece. And then after that, 2 people were tied for 7 apiece. Anson got 57. These are the ones they know about. Right? But he's in the Hall of Fame. And this, I found this funny about Bill James. Bill James might be the dumbest smart nigga ever. Baseball story and Bill James does not dispute this claim, and apparently referring to Speaker and possibly Cobb being in the KKK, but says the Klan had toned down its racist overtures during the 1920s and pulled in hundreds of thousands of non-racist men, including Hugo Black. Hugo Black was an American lawyer, politician. He was a U.S. Senator. He was Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. He was born in 1886 in Alabama. Right. Now, again, that don't make him racist. Of course. Being born in Alabama, that don't make him racist. But Bill James, you got to get the fuck out of here forever, dude. You think in the 1920s, the KKK said, all right, guys, it's time to tone it down. I think we're doing a little too much. The cross is, it's a bit heavy-handed. He's like, hey, I'm not saying they weren't in the Klan. I'm not saying they didn't hate niggers. I'm not saying they didn't hate Jews. However, this was like, all that stopped in the Klan. That led up to December 31st, 1919. We're talking about the 20s Klan. These were upstanding gentlemen. So, fuck you, Bill James. There's more. Like Tom Yawkey owned the Red Sox for a while. Refused to promote black players. Red Sox were the last team to have a black player play in the majors for them. Also, I knew that part. I don't think I knew this part. He had a clubhouse attendant for years that players and victims said he was sexually assaulting young boys. And Tom Yawkey protected him for years and years and years. And Tom Yawkey died, and the guy was still working there. Right? Like, that's how he defended him literally until his own death. And later on, the guy pled guilty to some of the charges. New ownership ended up paying out some of the settlements with the victims. And the Red Sox ended up taking Tom Yawkey's name. It used to be Yawkey Way, the street by Fenway. I did learn that when I was up there. They changed it to something else. But he's still in the Hall of Fame. And again, you know it's a tough scene. When Boston was like, hey, man, this Yawkey guy was doing a bit much, man. Them niggas wasn't really that bad. Tom just really hated them niggas. But we got to get him out of here. He in the Hall of Fame. Kennesaw Mountain Landis. He refused to integrate as a commissioner. His name's still on the MVP trophy. He in the Hall of Fame. Right? Like the steroid era, all the players are out, but the guy who oversaw it, Bud Selig, the guy who benefited and watched baseball boom and get popular again because it was fun, because people were doing steroids, he's in the Hall of Fame. Calvin Griffith, blackest name I ever heard for a white man, but Calvin Griffith inherited the Washington Senators from his father in 1955, moved the team to the Twin Cities. They became the Minnesota Twins in 1961, had already been the subject of controversy for racist remarks. At a Lions Club dinner in 1978, unaware reporter was present. Griffith said, I'll tell you why we came to Minnesota. It was when we found out you only had 15,000 blacks here. Black people don't go to ball games, but they'll fill up a wrestling ring and put up such a chant it'll scare you to death. We came here because you've got good, hardworking white people here. End quote. And Calvin Griffith's in the Hall of Fame. So, I mean, it goes on and on. Those aren't the only ones, but those are like, again, 2 former commissioners, owners, players, managers, all that. All those guys are in the Hall of Fame. And again, their rule says the voting should be based upon the player's record, playing ability, integrity, sportsmanship, character, and contributions to the teams on which they play. So if they want to take out the character and integrity part and the sportsmanship part, if you was betting on your game, betting on games you were involved in, you take all that out, things make a lot more sense. But outside of that, no, they got the worst voters In the world, really. In the world. Next question comes from Kenny G. Kenny G says, where do the Rockets go from here? They tank and let the new coach do whatever? Have John Wall and Boogie and Seawood run the show? I watched them get absolutely embarrassed in back-to-back games by the Los Angeles Lakers. Harden and Wall looked like they weren't allowed to communicate on the court. Plus the recent Harden talk of him officially wanting out. Now, this was before Kenny G sent this in before the Harden press conference where he pretty much burned the last bridge. But I feel like it's pretty much the same, right? Like, I don't even think they really need to tank. They're just not very good. They just play out the string. There's no need to tank. They're just not that good. But I do think, like, having a locker room where the entire team doesn't want to run James Harden fade will help. Like, Oladipo's playing for a contract. You know what I'm saying? Wall and Boogie got something to prove after being out with some injuries. Christian Wood, I think he's still averaging like 25 and 10. Like, Christian Wood is nice. So, yeah, run out the string with them. I'd probably move P.J. Tucker. I do think you could probably get like a late first from a contender for P.J. Tucker. So I'd probably move. If I get a first at all, I'd move him. They didn't really get many young players. They got Exum, who I think is hurt again, surprise. But they got Kurux, who's I think he was either an early second rounder a couple years ago or a late first rounder for the Nets. Get him some run. Let Steven Silas, the new coach, let him catch his breath, get his feet wet. Like, this has been, like, since he took that job, this was the main thing. James Harden, is he going to come when he's there? Why is he fat? Is he going to play? Does he like you? Does he know your name? So that's got to be a load off his chest. They can't really tank because, again, Oklahoma City has their pick or the right to swap their pick. But they can still, like, again, you move P.J. Tucker. They'll still have a pick in this draft. Maybe you end up with 2 in what's supposed to be a really deep draft. You got your new coach. Again, evaluate Oladipo. I imagine they'll probably let Oladipo go because Tillman Fertitta's a broke bitch. But we'll see. Maybe they flip him for something. Maybe they keep him. Maybe they can extend him because if he gets to free agency and has a good year, there'll be a lot of teams willing to pay. A lot of teams willing to pay just because there's not a huge free agency class. A lot of the restricted guys got locked up. A lot of the unrestricted guys got locked up. So, though I don't think they'll be like bottom 3 bad. Because, again, John Wall shown some fight. Oladipo shown some fight. Christian Wood's good. Eric Gordon, I don't know what he's doing this year. He can't get worse than he was last year. And I didn't. If I could get him off in the deal, I'd trade him too. But till then, just let Steven Silas, you know what I'm saying, just catch his breath, and because they're clearly playing the long game. So, next question is, what are your favorite sports weeks of the regular sports calendar? Some personal favorites: World Series week when the NFL is going and the NBA is normally starting up, or March Madness when baseball is starting up and the NBA playoff pictures coming into focus. My October, like normal October, which y'all remember that, is strong. You got like the NBA, NHL start up. I know they start up around the same time. NFL's going, college football's going, college basketball's either starting or about to start, like around like Halloweenish, end of October. So that's always a great time. I like the second round of the NBA playoffs. Right, like it's one of those things. It's like the first round, you got like 4 games every day, and they're not all good because the first round usually stinks. Like, not all those games are good. But second round, you're getting like 2-3 games about every day, and we're getting like to the nitty gritty. That's why I mentioned it earlier. That's why I'm excited for the second round of the East playoffs this year, because it's usually good out west. We should get a good one in the East, so that's a good one. End of March, early April is usually pretty good. That's around the time like again, in normal circumstances, the Final Four is getting going. NBA's winding down. Like, not quite everybody's resting their players, but close. Like Keeneland, it's like horse racing starts up. Like, it's when the weather's starting to get good, so those type of things open. Baseball starting up, and the NFL mock drafts start coming out, like every hour on the hour. Like, you search for one at 12 o'clock, and they're like, we've updated this 9 times a day. That's like the early first week of April vibes. So those are probably my couple. But yeah, March Madness, first day of March Madness is always special. You're always getting at least one buzzer beater, at least 1 or 2 buzzer beaters, at least 1 or 2 really good games, at least 1 or 2 upsets. So those would probably be my votes. Next question says, trying to settle a debate with friends of mine on what sport has the best overall athletes, with the track and field decathlon being the event to prove who's the most athletic. The sports included are NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, and pro soccer. The events are 100-meter dash, 100-meter hurdles, 400 meters, 1,500 meters, high jump, long jump, pole vault, shot put, discus, and javelin. Goddamn. 5 players from each sport to a team, at least one representative from each sport, and a point system for a top 3 finish in each event. My friends say soccer players win most athletic, but I think it's NBA players in a wash. Zach LaVine might win half the events himself. Help us settle the debate. I will help you settle the debate. My vote is football players. I'm going football players. I've long been of the mindset. I think defensive linemen are the best athletes like on the planet. Like on the planet. Like they have to routinely go against guys like much bigger and stronger than them. Like outweighing them by 30 to 50 pounds, if not more. So they have to be strong enough to withhold like that initial push. They got to be big enough to not just be thrown off, but they also have to be like quick enough to get around them or off them or through them to get in the backfield. And then once you get in the backfield, you got to tackle Derrick Henry, man. So I would say them and defensive backs, just because you just have to do everything going backwards, right? Like if Tyreek Hill was running the route backwards and I was running it forward, he would still get open, right? So imagine trying to cover him when you got to go backwards. You got to mirror what he does. And also, I look at like football players' recovery time. Like anytime there's like a serious injury, you look at football players, they just come back sooner than other players, which is wild because football is like the most violent. Maybe NHL because they're doing it all on skates. And I don't want to sell them short at all. Like NHL might wash this because those guys are massive and doing everything on ice skates. But I'll go football. Like I remember Richard Sherman tore his Achilles in November of 2017. November. He started week 1 in September 2018. And he was all pro the next year. Like less than a calendar year he started, less than 2 years, he was all pro. Right? Like Achilles used to be a death sentence in the NBA. KD looks great now, but he also had 19 months off. And that time Richard Sherman had a full season and was on his all pro year. Like I remember Terry Wilson, Kentucky's quarterback, he ruptured his patellar tendon week 2 in 2019. He started week 1 of 2020 and started every game. Andre Roberson, if you remember from the Thunder, he had the same injury in January 2018. He didn't play again until August 2020. And now he's not anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what it is, but it's like the speed, strength, agility, the jumping, the dexterity, whatever. I go football players. Like soccer players can't use their hand, man. They're going to throw the discus farther than Aaron Donald. You know what I'm saying? They're going to throw a shot put farther than Ndamukong Suh. And again, those guys still run whatever. Like 400 meters would be no problem for Aaron Donald. And maybe this goes to show like how hard it is to be like an NBA athlete. You know what I'm saying? How well conditioned they are, that it takes longer to get back for the types of movements, you know what I'm saying, that they do in their sport. But I'll never forget Adrian Peterson. If you remember when he tore his ACL in, I think it was like December. It was almost the end of the season that previous year. And I remember they did a special on his rehab. And I think it was the night he tore it. He was in there. The doctor was looking at it and just telling him like, he's like, what's the next steps? He's like, okay. He's like, we have to wait for the swelling to go down. That's number 1. Number 2, when the swelling goes down, you're going to be able to, know when the swelling goes down, you'll be able to pick your knee up like this, like raise it at whatever angle. So once that happens in a couple days, and like while he was saying that, Adrian Peterson was like this, and he raised his knee like that immediately. This is the night he tore the ACL up. It was either that night or the following day. And the doctor was like, I've never seen that before. He was like, normally this takes like days up to a week. Like it's no rush. Like the swelling has to go down before we can do anything. And Adrian Peterson just was like, no, I don't do that swelling thing. I just don't do that. And just this year, I mean, that was the year before he had the 2,000-yard MVP season. Amari Rodgers, wide receiver for Clemson, I think it was last year. 2020. It might have been 2019. One of the last 2 years. He tore his ACL in spring ball at the end of March. Tore his ACL last week of March. He was jogging in July. And he played in September. He played in a game and had 2 catches in September. 6 months after tearing it. Like, football players are just different, man. So, I got to go with them. And in order, I would say, give me NFL, then NBA, then NHL, then soccer, then baseball. Maybe switch soccer and NHL, but nah, give me NHL. And I know, again, soccer people are going to yell at me because soccer people love to yell. But I'm going NFL. Next question, Burger asks, what is Trilly's all-time favorite video game? Did you grow up a Nintendo, Xbox, or Sony guy? I was Nintendo, man. My sister, my uncle had like regular Nintendo because we're old. Transitioned into Super Nintendo. That one was mine. And then I went from Super Nintendo into PlayStation game. And I've been PlayStation game ever since. All the way up through the 4. Whenever I can get the 5, 5 years from now. I think that's the end of the line for me. All right, like once I get one in Black Friday, maybe. I think that's that. Like the games are getting too realistic. I'm not really having that much fun. But yeah, I was definitely a PlayStation guy. And my favorite game of all time, I had to think on this one. It was either 01 or 02, but I think it was Knockout Kings 2002. Like their creative boxer mode was like so cold. Like I remember creating a boxer that had some setbacks along the way. The trainer was like, you got to train hard. Like I was only training power, right? I wanted to knock down power. I had to make them more well-rounded, man. And I remember I finally won the belt. And it was just so fulfilling, like so refreshing. And I don't know if I've had that in a video game experience since. Like some of the old Maddens were pretty good, but when Madden used to be good, I couldn't pick one year. But that Knockout Kings, I think right was before it turned into Fight Night. That was probably my favorite. And another video game question. Jim, our resident wrestling expert, says, is there any video game franchise you would like to bring back from the dead, knowing it could be a smash hit? Personally, I would choose NFL Street. NFL Street's a good one. NFL Street could work. NBA Street, of course. Like NBA Street Volume 2, that's another one. That's another one I thought about for my favorite game of all time. That was just I really feel like a flawless game. Like from the creative player, the way you could go on tour, you go to Seattle and pick up Whitewater. That boy was deep, cold from deep. So that was a good one. I think NBA Street Now could be fire. You probably got to add like a 4-pointer or like a 4-point spot. You get in the zone for a 4-pointer, but I think that could be cold. But if I could bring one back, give me the Fight Night, man. Give me Knockout Kings. I just love them old boxing games. Though they're too complicated now. They're way too complicated, right? Like on the last Fight Night, you had to move like left analog and right analog. And again, my hand-eye coordination, my brain-hand coordination, whatever it is, it don't work like that. Again, I came from NES, regular Nintendo Entertainment System. Like the options were button A, and button B. Those are the two options. So I'll bring it back, but like a simplified version. Like on the newest NHL, which is a fire game, by the way, they got an option. You can play the NHL 94, or you can play the new game with the NHL 94 controls. That's what I would have. Give me Fight Night or Knockout Kings with the option for the old controls, and we back in there. But a franchise, I think this one's going to come back, though. I really do. NCAA football. I would pay, not even kidding, $200 for an NCAA football game right now. Like, I still play the old one with the updated rosters. People still update the rosters. And when you play on Madden, the new Madden, you get to play a couple college football games, or the college football playoff games. And you just see, like, man, with the graphics now, they could make, like, the dynasty, the recruit, and everything would be fire. But I do think we're going to get that. I don't know about soon, because the NCAA as a whole. But I do think we're going to get that one. So I won't say that one, because I think we might actually get it. So give me Fight Night / Knockout Kings. Next question, and I'm telling you, got one or two more max. Now, for y'all, do y'all like like 2-hour episodes? I know, like, we used to do the 4-hour episodes, but I don't know what people like to listen to. Like, I know I don't listen to 2-hour podcasts, but this ain't about what I listen to. Y'all tell me what y'all like, because I could bullshit for hours, as is abundantly clear. Next question. A bit of a double header here from both from Basque, draft expert, 0-1. Says, I want your take on Cat being soft idea. He was supposed to be out 8 weeks with his most recent injury. Came back after 2 weeks because he didn't want to leave the team. He made Saunders play him. Getting sick of the Cat isn't a leader and Cat is soft narratives that simply aren't true. And he also says, our youngest Dominican son playing very good defense with one hand. How good will he be with two hands? So I'll tackle those together. I mean, if you saw it, Cat they just lost to the Grizzlies. They had a fourth quarter lead. They were up 12 in the fourth quarter. And Memphis went on a 14-0 run, I think, in like 2 minutes of gameplay. And they ended up losing the game. I think they lost the game by double digits. And so, like, him speaking about it, like, he fed up, man. Like, he pissed off. He was calling names. He was like, me and D'Angelo, Malik, he's like, we can score, but it ain't about that. We got to play defense. So I like that. He's, like, not even, like, mentioned the Jordan meme. I do feel like he's taking it personally. That's the first step, because that's really what's left. He can do about everything else. It's got to be the defense. They have to improve defensively. Him in particular, because of the position he plays. As far as him being soft, I've never really bought that. Like, I've just never really bought that. Like, you can be bad at defense and not be soft. You know what I'm saying? You can not be able to post up DeMarcus Cousins, where he's like 290 pounds. You know what I'm saying? And that don't make you soft if you can't post him up. Right? Like, it's the whole Jimmy Butler thing. Like, the 30-year-old guy that knows his time is ticking when you're like 24 and your like second deal hadn't even kicked in. Like, y'all not being on the same timeline, it's okay. It don't make you soft. It don't make him hard. It don't make you soft. Y'all just on different time, right? If you ever been at or on some type of job with somebody that just needs it more than you know what I'm saying? You know how it is. Hey, you got to take this more seriously. And it's like, dude, I'm 22 and getting paid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't got to take shit seriously, respectfully. So I've never bought the soft thing. Even going back to Kentucky, he would play, like, his game was outside in. He preferred to shoot first. And you see it now. He's hitting 40% of his three. Like, he's a good shooter. He should shoot. And Cal, to his credit, was like, no, go in the post. Like, you can already shoot. You don't need to work on that. Go in the post. Go in the post. Go in the post. And he would go in the post, right? I don't think that made him soft, right? They used to say it, but if you just shoot jumpers, they used to say Dirk was soft. I never thought Dirk was soft. It's like, he good at shooting jumpers. Like, what? Everybody not Hakeem Olajuwon down low. So it's not all Cat's fault. Some of it is. Like, you see what Wiggins is doing in Golden State. He's looked good so far. Like, I can't even, there's no joke there. He's looked good. But we've seen this before. He's looked good defensively. We'll see if he keeps the defensive intensity up. He's had hot shooting stretches before. We'll see if he keeps that up. I want to see him do it all year first, but we'll see. But, yeah, like, their success, it ain't because, like, he was soft or, like, Cat was soft or wasn't a leader or whatever. Like, Cat's not playing off Steph Curry and Draymond Green. Like, did Andrew Wiggins get tougher, or is he having, like, 2 All-Stars and a Hall of Fame coach coaching him? But, like, Cat has missed, they played 11 games this year. He's missed 7 of them. They're 24th in offense, 29th in defense. They gave up 125 points to the Spurs in an overtime game, to be fair, and lost. And the next night, Cat didn't play. They held the Spurs to 88. Now, some of that's, of course, second night of back-to-back. But that's a big difference. Like, something got to shake. It can't just be, like, talking the talk. He definitely talking the talk. And the thing I really hate about Cat, and it's just life, man. Like, now they're making the NBA players take, like, updated pictures every year. And every single picture I've seen of Karl-Anthony Towns since he was, like, 14, legitimately, he's smiling, showing every tooth in his mouth. High school, when he committed to UK, when he was at UK, when he got drafted, all that. Smile. I think he's just a happy kid. And this year, he's not smiling, right? And, of course, like, he's lost several family members to COVID, most notably his mother. And so, not even on some corny shit. Like I don't see that smile anymore, man. I don't see that smile anymore. So I know he's frustrated. I know he's up there. Like he got D'Angelo, he got his friend with him, and it's just not working out. Not yet, but it's still early. I think they just need more two-way players, man. Like not even if they could trade for. I mean, it wouldn't have, Draymond Green would be perfect for them. He'd be exactly what they need. But I was hoping, and it won't happen now because he signed like Jonathan Isaac. Like if he hit restricted free agency and they were able to make a big offer that the Magic didn't want to sign, like he's the perfect type of guy they need. They need any kind of two-way player. Like Cat, Russell, and Beasley, they all 20 a game. They all, I think, shooting like 38% from three, but they're all offense. Rubio, Culver, and Okogie, like they're all defense. Nobody guarding them. Anthony Edwards, he can go either way. He's still young. Hernan Gomez has been neither so far. So they do got to get some help there. Some of it's personnel. Some of it's on Cat just as the anchor of the defense. I think they could use a PJ Tucker. I mentioned him getting traded earlier. They could use him. Like Ibaka would have been good. Kyle Lowry, if they're looking to move off him, just somebody to just kind of set the tone as a two-way player would be good. I'd sign Kawhi Leonard. That's just me, right? Like if this was 2K, I would just sign Kawhi Leonard. I feel like that would fix a lot of their issues, but we'll see. We'll see. I do think he has the tools to be good defensively. Like I've seen it. It's just it's consistency, and as he mentioned yesterday, it's discipline. It's really discipline. I feel like they don't have the discipline a lot of times, and it leads to them giving up a lot more points than they should. So I hope he gets it back. But more importantly, man, I hope he gets that smile back. I would love to see him, smiling in an interview. I ain't seen him smile in an interview. I feel like I ain't seen him smile on the court in a while, for obvious reasons, right? I'm not saying, yeah, he, just smiling all that, but I just want him to be okay. Not even basketball shit. I just want him to be okay. Next question from JMitch20 about Cal. He says, thoughts on Cal's head in the sand? And he put a quote, if you're unfamiliar, recently against, I think it was before the Alabama game, the Kentucky players, no, maybe it was the Florida game. They kneeled. No, it was definitely Florida because after the Capitol stuff. They kneeled during the national anthem as a team. Cal did as well. I think the whole coaching staff did. I don't think anybody stood. And people were furious. There's like some sheriff in Kentucky that was telling people bring him their Kentucky gear and they'd burn it. So it was people, all type of people saying, they've been a fan for 52 years and they'll go root for Louisville and this is not what they signed up for. They're disrespecting the police and the military, all that. And so the quote that J. Mitch sent from Cal said, I didn't know about it until 90 minutes before the game, Cal told reporters in a news conference. We've had to talk about it since then. You don't need to speak, you need to have action, Calipari said. How do you bring people together? How do you make a difference? Not just how do you make a statement. They're 18 years old. They're learning. These kids are good kids. They've got good hearts. This political time, probably not a real good time to do it. And that was a part Jay Mitch highlighted. To be fair to Cal, there was more after that quote, right? He said, like, they're good kids. They got good hearts. This political time, probably not a good time to do it. But then right after that, he said, but when they came in, we really feel strongly. We want you to kneel with us. And I put my hand on my heart, even though I did kneel. And I feel like, honestly, as a coach, that's all you can ask, right? Like, agree or disagree. He heard him out. He supported them. And he kneeled with him. He knew what kind of Cal been in Kentucky a decade now. He knew what kind of backlash that would have. And it's been exactly that kind of backlash. He could have went full Dabo and threatened to run every player out and quit his job if they ever want rights, any kind of ability to speak out for themselves. But he didn't go full Dabo. You never go full Dabo. I don't know when the political time is right for that. I hear what he's saying. Like after the Capitol, I think that's what he meant. Not to speak for him because it was still not a good part of that statement. But he also tweeted today, in all caps, mind you, he said, "I stand with, for, and by my players. Always have and always will." And I say, where Cal stand on something, right or wrong. Like even if you agree with him, I do think he definitely go hard for his players, current and former. Like it's been debates on how he's shown it, especially this year, right? But he hasn't lost that group. They were 1-6. there have been multiple guys getting emotional on the bench. Guys have stepped away from the team. Guys have been injured. And for whatever reason, he hasn't lost that group yet. They won a tough 3 games in a row. Took one on the chin to a solid Alabama team. Like the day they played Alabama, a kid that was on the team last year, Ben Jordan, he was a walk-on last year and played for the UK baseball team, died. 22 years old, died. And so, like, Keon Brooks, those coaches, staff, all that, right? Like, that energy was around them that day, and then they got to go play at Alabama. So, yeah, they took it on the chin. It is what it is. But, yeah, he hadn't lost that group yet. So there's something, they still believe in him for some reason. And I do think I think he did the right thing kneeling with him. If he stood up on some Myers Leonard shit, oh, boy. But like as far as the fans like turning their jerseys and their shirts and all that, that's the best news I heard all week, man. Like we don't need you. You won't be missed. Doors on the left. Fuck off. Period. Another question here from Hob. It says, "What are your best or favorite This Is SportsCenter commercials?" Man, I'm just gonna run through a few of them. It's so many. Like those were legit my favorite commercials for a while. The Vander Holyfield one I mentioned last week is a great one. There's one where Damian Lillard's sitting in a chair. I think it was Linda Cohn asked him, can he make a meeting? He checks his schedule, and it's all just Dame time. He's like, I can't make it. It's Dame time. I like that one. There's a really old one. It's Steve Irwin, the late great, and John Anderson. They're talking, and the Florida Gator mascot comes off the elevator, and Steve Irwin just tackles it and is like, isn't she a beauty? I got her by the neck. Like, that's a good one. The one of LaDainian Tomlinson. He's got on like the visor in the mailroom. He's sorting the mail. I think Steve Levy comes in and checks his mail, and he's like, LaDainian, none of these are mine. LaDainian's like, huh? And he's still looking at the mail real close to his visor. That's a good one. The Mayweather and Brian Kenny. Like Mayweather and Brian Kenny used to go at it. So it's a room. Floyd Mayweather's just punching the hell out of this heavy bag. But the heavy bag's got Brian Kenny's face on it, and Brian Kenny walks by and is like, is everything okay, Floyd? He's like, yep. Bow, bow, bow. Nothing you want to talk about, Floyd? Nope. Bow, bow, bow. You sure? He's like, I'm okay, Brian. Okay. And just walks away and he go back to punching it. That's a good one. Ortiz and the Yankees hat's a good one. Ovechkin being the Russian spy. John Clayton ponytail. Hey, Mom, I'm done with my segment. That's a classic. The Y2K one. I remember Y2K. When Charlie Steiner had like the tie around his head and the paint on his face. He was like, follow me. Follow me to freedom. So those are some classics. You're not going to go wrong because there are some amazing ones I left out. There's just so many good ones. You got a question from the homie Pele. Matter of fact, 2 questions. First question says, you asked last Fireside Chat, had anyone ever been canceled? And I think we forgot someone. Karl Malone does not get brought up in basketball debate or conversation, and it has nothing to do with playing in Utah or skill. This is true, but to that I say, what do we have to cancel him from? You know what I'm saying? He retired. He ain't selling no grills or nothing. He ain't doing no analyst work, I don't think. And again, I'll always say, was he canceled or was it consequences of his actions? And I'll read his actions because every once in a while I still get asked, it's like, yo, why don't you like Karl Malone? Or it'll come up, it's like, you don't like why do you hate Julio and Karl Malone? It's like, whoa. I just said Julio don't score touchdowns. It's fuck Karl Malone. Those are 2 very different things. So the reason is fuck Karl Malone, and I quote, in 1998, the newspaper The Globe reported that Malone had been a defendant in paternity lawsuits filed shortly after Malone began his professional basketball career in the late 1980s. The newspaper alleged that he was the father of 3 children, 2 by Bonita Ford, a woman approximately his age from his hometown of Summerfield, Louisiana, and 1 with Gloria Bell, who was 13 when she gave birth. Malone and Ford were both 17 when twins Daryl and Cheryl Ford were born. Sidebar, at that Cheryl Ford, like the one that played in the WNBA, I think she won a championship, like had a good career. But yeah, they were both 17. Malone was a 20-year-old college sophomore when Bell, at age 13, gave birth to Demetrius Bell. According to the Tribune, Malone challenged the court's ruling with regard to Bell, claiming the judgment holding him responsible for $125 per week in child support, plus past and future medical expenses, was excessive. Before Malone's appeal was adjudicated, the lawsuit was settled on confidential terms. In the case of the Ford twins, Malone was ruled to be their father when he violated a court order by refusing to reveal his assets or submit to a DNA test. Therefore, another out-of-court settlement was reached. Bell, the son he had with the 13-year-old girl, has played as an offensive lineman for the Bills, Eagles, and Cowboys. In 2008, the Buffalo News reported Bell's first and only meeting with Malone came shortly after Bell graduated from high school. According to Bell, Malone told him that it was too late for them to have a father-son relationship. End quote. So that's why it's fuck Karl Malone. So again, are those consequences? Or if you're 20 and you get a 13-year-old pregnant, we don't have to acknowledge anything you ever did on the basketball court. And that's a shame too, man. He got all the points, the rebounds, all defense teams, took 2 MVPs off Michael Jordan, and we just don't acknowledge him at all. So was he canceled, or are those consequences for being a 20-year-old college sophomore and getting a 13-year-old girl pregnant? And then saying that $125 a month was just too rich for his blood, right? His rookie year, he made $225K. The next year, it was $800K. And after that, he never made less than $1 million. But $125 a month, it was too rich for his blood. So, yeah, canceled or consequences is what I say. And fuck Karl Malone is also what I say. Second question. He says this one from his homeboy Pele. Wanted me to ask you, why was the Pinky, Jada Fire, Cherokee, Diaz era so special, man? They just don't make them like that no more. That was for his homeboy. You understand? Let me just say, I understand why you're detrimentally horny. I get it. It's too much. It's just too much, Pele. However, you could tell your friend, I think ease of access, man. Like, ease of access at the time was brand new, right? It was like at the time it hit and you could just get whatever you wanted at any given time. High-speed internet was a thing. There were different body types. You know what I'm saying? Like, you listed 3 people with 3 distinct body types because Dr. Miami hadn't hit it big yet. Everybody looked the same with the same body or whatever. It was a big time for African-American actresses. So you can relate that to your homeboy if you could. Yeah, just pass that good word along to him. Pele, thank you. Next question. As soon as I saw this one, I knew it was going to be a deep diver. But it says, in light of this tweet, what are some of the worst tweets you've ever seen? That's a deep diver for sure. So we got a couple of things to add to the deep dive this episode. And I mentioned this tweet earlier. I don't know if I read it, so I'll just read the threads from Ballify NBA. It says, quote, you can hate people without knowing them. Example, Hitler. So yes, anyone can hate Kyrie without knowing him. It is humanly possible to do so. If you disagree, that means you think hating Hitler is also impossible. There's a thread. Under that tweet, he says, how are people still not understanding a very simply broken down analogy? This is sad, but somehow funny. Did they not have reading comprehension where y'all from? And the tweet under that, it says, this is not comparing Kyrie to Hitler. 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 End tweet. So those are 3 of the worst tweets I've ever seen, by far. So there'll be a deep dive on the worst tweets at some point. And also, since it just happened, I want to find this quote to be sure. Since Kyrie, I don't know what it is. I'm starting to like Kyrie more and more because people lose their fucking mind when it comes to Kyrie Irving. Jackie McMullen said today, apparently on the Ryan Russillo podcast, or excuse me, yesterday's Ryan Russillo podcast. Quote, well, so I will tell you this. One of the conversations, I was thinking of all the conversations I've had with Kyrie through the years. One of them I had, 2 years ago. We got into an argument about, something. And he's like, well, there shouldn't be an NBA draft. Players should be able to go wherever they want to go. We're not, someone's property. And I'm like, yeah, you are, dude. That's the way it works. That's why you get paid all these millions. And so I really think in Kyrie's mind, he thinks the effects of the Capitol, I think the effects of the Jacob Blake shooting, those things affected him. They bothered him. He felt like we're not putting importance where it belongs. These things are more important. I really believe that. End quote. I cannot for the life of me understand why Kyrie Irving don't want to talk to the basketball media. Can anyone figure this out? Can anyone figure it out why you don't want to talk to somebody who's like, no, your property is exactly what you are, black man. Right? It's racist at worst. It's complete obliviousness at best. And either way, no. There are ways to argue there should be a draft without saying, yes, your property. That's why you get paid all this money. Right? That's just, again, horribly tone deaf or horribly racist, or maybe both. Right? Maybe both. I don't know, but I can't imagine why he doesn't want to talk to people who think he's property and should just shut up and play ball. People who think that she thought that was a perfectly okay thing to say. And whoever edits it was like, I'm fine with that staying in. And that's Ryan Russillo's podcast, and he was like, I'm fine with that staying in. She's been covering the league for 30, 40 years, right? She's one of the more respected people in the league. So when you understand, these are the people you want to aspire to be, Jackie McMullen, right? You want to still be around 30, 40 years from now. And that's the mindset she has. I cannot imagine why he doesn't want to talk to, people that came up in that. Can you? Can anyone just imagine? He's getting compared to Hitler, and getting told that, yeah, no, that's why you get paid the millions. No, actually, it's not. And people don't understand. I remember the very first job I had out of college. I can't say summoned to the office. They used to say you've been summoned to the manager's office. We had our year-end review, right? Performance review. But at this company, they would call them appraisals, right? And so they would send me something. It'd be like, okay, you have to acknowledge your appraisal. And every single time I would say the same thing. I said, if you want me to acknowledge a performance review, I can do that. You appraise property, right? Appraisals are for property. I'm not property. And so I got summoned to the office for that. So it's like real estate appraisal. Like you're evaluating, you're evaluating the estimate of something, right? It's just how I looked at it. And even then, it's one of those things where even if you didn't mean it like that, why would you call, you could just say performance review. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a fucking house. I'm a terrible 22-year-old employee, but I'm not a house. You know what I mean? So, Kyrie making people lose their mind. Big fan. Big fan. Next question. So all I want is a deep dive on this. It's a picture. It's from a while ago. I'm not sure who came out with it. It's like at the bottom, it's a row of, 100 people with the American flag in the background. And the bottom row is the U.S. ladies soccer team, I think after they won the gold medal. And there's a lot of famous people in it. And I think, it says, I can't remember if y'all did it on mixtape. I think we did. Because I remember looking at this again. It's like, I don't even know enough of these people to deep dive, right? Like, there are a bunch of random people that I do recognize that shouldn't be here. Like LeBron, Ellen, Jay-Z, and Beyonce. Oprah's here. Will Smith is here. Iron Man. Kendrick Lamar. One of the Jenners. And a lot more white people, I just don't know who they are. So this just feels like it took a lot more work than it was worth. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if this was like somebody fucking around, and I feel like a company tweeted this, maybe a Bleacher Report, I don't know. Somebody tweeted this out, was like dead serious. And it's like, boy, oh boy, like y'all made the intern like take their time to do that. Why is LeBron James on here? Why is Taylor Swift here? I don't get it. So I don't even know enough to deep dive, but it is a wild image to just exist at all. Next question comes from the Fiend, Crawl Wyatt. He said, can we get a shout out to all the great things going on in the jam contest in the Discord, and other people know they can spectate and participate? Also, don't let the name fool you. It me, Crawford. You dirty dog, you. No, you cannot. And I'll tell you why, Crawford. Because if I tell you that we got the jam contest going on, I have to tell you what they are. And if I tell you what they are, I'd have to tell you that we're having DJ battles in the Discord, like a little 5-song DJ battle in between, whoever challenges whoever. You just play your 5 songs. It goes snake order, and the winner's decided by the people. That's the jam contest. So if I tell them that, I got to tell them that we just opened up the jam contest channel and the jam contest voting channel in the Discord. So you can listen to the tunes, you can talk about it, but then the votes won't get lost in the shuffle. And if I tell them about those new channels, I'd have to tell them about the new anime and comics channel. I'd have to tell them about Moe's Tavern, how we just talk about different beers in there. You know what I'm saying? I have to tell them how they can, if they want to ask a question for me to answer on this very show, there's a channel for that in there. And if I tell them that, like if I go that far, I might as well tell them how nice it is to see people unburden themselves in the live chat and know that there's people in the community that have went through similar, are going through similar, or willing to help in the ways that they know how, with a nice word, some encouragement, or whatnot. And if I go that far, Crawford, I got to get started on how good the mods have been and how attentive they've been at, coming up with new things to keep it interesting and keep it fresh, and what a great job they're doing. And I'm damn sure not going to do that. And you will never, mark my words, you will never catch me saying that this upcoming Monday at 8, B. Lambert and Elijah Squid are going head-to-head in the jam contest at 8 p.m. And that me and Crawford, the very same Crawford who asked this dumbass question, are having a jam contest battle at 9. Now, it's Martin Luther King Day, and Crawford's white, so I got to bring the thunder. You know what I mean? I got to bring the heat. And what's so great about this is I'm convinced that no matter what I play, I'm not going to get a single vote. He's convinced that no matter what he plays, I'm going to get every vote. So it's really the low self-esteem contest. But again, I'm not saying any of those things, so quit asking. Thank you. What I got to put up with, man. Last question for the day comes from Sal. Sal says, what are some things you learned later in life that you thought should have been taught in school growing up? Example, applying for a loan, learning about investing, or something that a history teacher didn't mention. Example, I didn't learn about the Tulsa fires until I was 17. It's a few things, like a couple events, couple like just skills. Like, I think that's what we're talking about, like Black Wall Street in Tulsa, the race massacres. Just how many, like there were more than Tulsa. There was like Durham. There were places across the country where black people just had like their own thriving community. And most, if not all, were ruined by jealous racist white people. And fun fact, the Gap Band of Charlie Wilson fame, they're from Tulsa, and their name Gap was, I think, Greenwood, Archer, Pine Streets, GAP. Those are the main 3 streets of Black Wall Street. That's how they named their band. Like Philadelphia bombing its own citizens and killing 5 children in the process. That was in like 1985. I wish I would have learned that in school. I would have learned like just general police misconduct. You know what I'm saying? I wish it's a thing that would have been taught to everybody. Because again, when one side, their only experience with the cops is them driving through the neighborhood and making sure things are safe, and the other side is them driving through the neighborhood and causing the trouble, it's easy to see where the disconnect is. I would like basic, like cars, how to change a tire would be nice. How to change your oil. Like money stuff, like just saving, investing, like credit card interest, paying off loans, paying off loan interest. And I tell you right now, if you have a loan of any kind, pay on it as often as you can. because you have to cut the interest. If you don't cut the interest, you throwing money out the window. I feel like we see a thread or an article every once in a while. People are like, I had $100,000 in student loans. I paid $1,000 a month every month for 2 years, and now I have $150,000 in student loan. Because you're not cutting the interest. If you're paying once a month, the interest is accruing every single day, right? So you're paying $1,000, but you're accruing $100 in interest. So you're not knocking anything down, right? So I'm not telling you, don't pay $1,000 every day. Not like cut it into 30 days or 20 days, like just weekdays. Pay that. Pay that, because once you cut down the interest, you get to the principal. Once you knock off the principal, you knock off the loan. So pay as often as you can. That was something I didn't learn until I had loans to pay off. I would say learn how to talk to people. Again, just in general. It's just the difference between you getting a couple extra chicken tenders in your bag or getting somebody rubbing your chicken under their armpit. It's the difference between you getting a girl's number and getting the finger. It's the difference between a cop letting you off with a warning or maybe asking you to step out of the car. Just learning in general how to talk to people. I would say basic self-defense. I've long thought that like just basic self-defense should be taught like 4th, 5th, 6th grade. Boys and girls, everybody, you just learn, like, again, just the basics. How to block a punch, how to throw a jab without breaking your finger or hurting yourself, how to slip a hole, how to get out of trouble, like just basic stuff. I feel like it'd be a lot less trying people if you knew that like literally everybody around you at least had general knowledge. Like, okay, like it ain't Roy Jones Jr. over there, but you ain't just gonna run up on anybody. They might got a stiff jab for your ass. I would say racism. Like, don't avoid it. Learn about it. Learn the levels, how many levels it is. Because I think a lot of people, like I've seen it today with the Jackie McMullen stuff. It's like, hey, man, how can she be racist? She's covered the NBA for 30 years. You think she'd be racist if she did that? Yeah, listen, and slave owners hired slave. Like, you know what I'm saying? Slave owners employed, wink, wink, slave. They paid them in food and board. So how could they really be racist? They even let them in their bed sometime. You know what I'm saying? And raised their children and made them raise their children with the slaves. So could they really be racist? But like racism, it's not just burning crosses. It's not just saying nigger to somebody. It affects everything. It affects from the time your mother gets pregnant with you. And then like this ain't theory. This ain't speculation. Like, this is a fact. But the time your mother gets pregnant with you, Black women receive much worse hospital care. Much worse. From the time you're pregnant, even before you're born, that's affecting you. It affects the home that after you're born that you get taken home to, right? Because the home that they bought was the one they were allowed to buy. It's the one the realtor showed them in the part of town that they allowed them to purchase a home in. It affects the resources you get once you get into that home. Word to Flint, Michigan. Right, that shit wouldn't happen in Hartford, Connecticut, right? But Flint, Michigan still don't have water, right? They just now, they're gonna try the people in charge. Sick, love it. Been years of kids and adults getting shit water there. They're just now gonna try them. Can't wait till they get off with a slap on the wrist. It affects your schools. It affects the money you get. So thus your education. Your education affects how far you go. It affects the jobs you get. It affects the jobs you get offered. It affects the job interviews you get. If you happen to get in trouble because you were doing something to earn money because you couldn't get a job for that reason, it affects the legal counsel you can get. We've seen time after time, the more money you have, you're probably going to walk, right? If you can afford the best legal counsel, they can create doubt and you'll plead to something much less serious than if you were poor. Right? So just learning the levels of racism. It's not just, I don't like you, nigger. Now that's a part of it. That's part of it for sure. But it affects so many levels, even more than the ones I just listed. And I would say just general perspective. Like, I don't know if you can teach empathy, but just perspective, just understanding, like before you snap on somebody, just understand, listen, they don't want to be serving you right now either. Right? Like, if they got your order wrong, you think they did it on purpose, man? Like, yeah, I'm gonna teach this son of a bitch. I'm gonna put some cheese on his burger, man. Yeah, that'll get his ass. Like, understand, they probably ain't even do, like, they could have wrote it right. The chef cooked it wrong. Now they lose out on their tip. Right? They might have just lost out on their tip. That's why they don't have a smile on their face. They got shit going on at home. That's why they, you know what I'm saying? And again, don't excuse poor service or whatever is poor service. But when you understand a lot of this shit is not intentional. Like, I like to think about things in terms, like, was that racist or was that incompetent? A good 95% of the time it's racist, but sometimes it's just incompetence, right? So just perspective. I think those are the ones that came to mind. I would love to hear what you guys have. Things you wish you would have learned. Again, could be events like Black Wall Street, could be just general principles or whatever. I would love to hear what y'all got on that. And I will close out with something. I feel like this is something I've been getting asked quite a bit recently. Like, not even on the show, like just in different avenues. I've been like emailed, DM, whatever. And it's about people basically asking, you know what I'm saying, how did I get to do what I do for a living? Like, if you're trying to write, blog, podcasts, but I feel like it goes for everything. And I tell people the same thing. It's two things. And once I realized these two things, that's when I went to work. And now when I went to work, it took a long time, right? The shade for tomorrow's tree starts with the seed planted years ago. You know what I'm saying? But I always say you need quality and you need consistency, right? Like, and this is what I wrote to somebody. I said, it goes without saying, but it's easy to come home from your 9-to-5 job and you give whatever effort or energy you have left to your own creation. But writing and particularly podcasting are very intimate settings, right? Like, it's only you and your reader or your listener. All they have is the words you put on the page. So if they're reading it in a different way, maybe you didn't set it up the right way. If they're hearing this a different way, maybe you didn't set it up the right way. And again, because it's so intimate, people gonna know if you half-assing it. You know what I'm saying? People gonna know if you just going through the motions. And I get it, right? Because I've been there, like, doing the 9-to-5 and then coming home and trying to get your own shit together. So I won't say, divert energy from the 9-to-5 to your own shit. But I will say that finding a way to match it, right? Finding a way to match that energy helped me quite a bit. And the second thing I will say is consistency, right? And that was really harder for me than the first one. Like, I don't like to write, so I would do it sporadically. And then hey man, I wrote an article once on a Monday, then 3 weeks later on a Thursday, and 4 weeks later on a Wednesday. Why aren't the people reading this? You know what I'm saying? It's about consistency, right? If they don't know what to expect or when to expect it, it's easy to get lost in the shuffle. I've heard people say that they don't want to start their own blog or their own podcast because it's so many. And I would say that's even more reason to do it, right? There's even more reason to do it. But whatever you decide, you got to stay consistent on it. If that's a podcast, like mine used to be every Wednesday. That was the days I had off. I had Tuesday and Wednesday off. So I record on Tuesday, release on Wednesday, every Wednesday. And it's not, I'll get to that later. It's just like whatever you decide consistency is, you have to make it that. And the thing I would say, I feel like a lot of people get discouraged when they start something. It's like they're not getting numbers, they're not getting viewers, it's not growing. I've been there too. And I went through it, like I check the numbers every single day. It's not growing. But the thing I've learned is you want to get good at this before people come, right? Because the idea is not to get them to look at it now and never again. The idea is to get them to keep looking at it for the long term. So it's not necessarily about how many viewers or whatever you have for a particular episode, right? And with that, like I had to start challenging myself. I didn't like to write, do it anyway. When I went up to New York for Barstool, I challenged myself, don't say no, right? Like, hey, you want to come on the rundown? Yeah. Hey, you want to jump on Sirius Radio with us? Yeah. Hey, you want to come on this podcast? Yeah. Hey, you want to, like, whatever. Say, like, challenge yourself. Because that's the only way you're going to get better is getting the reps in. Like, you can't fake the reps. And trust me, I have tried to learn the tricks of the trade so I didn't have to learn the trade. And it didn't work. Again, I can't say it won't work, but I can just tell you for me, it didn't work. So get the reps in, and with that, you'll get better. As you get better, that'll come the audience, and with the audience will come the opportunities. So it's just something I feel like I've been asked quite a bit lately. So wanted to put that out there. Maybe somebody needed that. Maybe not. We're at the 3-hour mark. I don't even know if anybody's still listening. I don't even know if anybody can hear me right now. But we're going to close it down there. Hope you all have a good week. Hope you're staying safe. I will say it and bang the table and scream it as loud as I can. I am begging you. If not for you, if not for Grandma, do it for Trilly, huh? Do it for Trilly. Wear your mask. Wash your hands. Stay home, please. I read an article the other day. A woman had to have a funeral for her mother in a parking lot. In a parking lot. Funeral homes are now turning away service. Funeral homes. They're like, we have too many dead bodies. Like the hospitals, that's been a wrap. They got full. Like Grady is our biggest, like our most famous hospital, probably Grady and Emory. Grady's full, bro. It's full. It ain't getting less full. You know what I'm saying? So I am begging you, take this shit seriously. Do your part. You're tired. You're restless. I know. I am too. I get it. But that's like getting tired and restless is not going like get us out of this. So I'll say it until we out of this in 2029. Imagine being alive in 2029. But let's try to have a good week, huh? Let's try to have a good week. Appreciate y'all, as always. Love y'all. Wear your mask. Wash your hands. We'll catch you next time.